What's going on, people? This is what you need. You're watching my channel. If you like this video, don't forget you can share, subscribe, and you can also donate to my channel via Western Union MoneyGram. You can also share this video if you like. So we're talking about Mayweather versus Canelo 2. How would that fight pan out? At this point in time, Mayweather versus anybody at this point in time, I think would just not be, any top tier fighter would just not be favorable to Mayweather. Seeing he's been out of the ring for so long, he's mostly on business ventures, keeps himself in decent shape, but he is nowhere in boxing shape. And I just don't think at this point in time in his career, I think it makes sense to get back into professional boxing at this point in time. This is just my personal opinion. I think he's been too long out the game. He's been around the game, but he's been mostly doing business stuff now. He's on his promotional side. I don't think we'll ever see Mayweather in a boxing ring doing a official pro fight anymore. I think those days are over. So if Mayweather was to face Canelo at this point in time, I favor Canelo to beat him as well. But having said all of that, this leads me to the other part of my video, which would be Canelo and talking about Canelo and just his whole new different style of doing things. Ellie Sackback interviewed Canelo, which was very interesting. And Canelo said he's a different fighter now to the fighter he used to be before he faced Floyd Mayweather. I think we all agree with that. Canelo, they were talking about Canelo throwing combinations, and Canelo said he's not really a combinational puncher so much as he's now a pot shotter. And if you look at Canelo when he's fighting, his skills are so much different now. He has a whole new array of skills. The way how he boxes, the way how he proceeds, the way how he plays chess in there is on a whole other level. And the guys in the game of boxing know this. Billy Joe Saunders knows. Jamal Charlo knows. And you know what's interesting? Canelo and Jamal Charlo are about the same age. Jamal Charlo is the same age as Canelo. They're both 29 years of age. So Canelo's very, very young. He has a lot of boxing ahead of him. And he will be facing all those other guys we talked about. But the thing that he has way ahead of all of them is a much vaster array of skills. You guys have no idea how much skills this guy is. And he's in the gym training right now as we speak. So just think about that. And in fact, the entire Reynoso gym now, with the addition of some other new members to it, have been training as well. Get a smoke. What's up, brother? Peace, bro. I'll be listening to you typing. Have a long drive ahead. All right, my dude. Well, we'll get into it. So we're talking about Floyd versus Canelo. I don't know what your thoughts on it, but if Floyd faces Canelo a second time, at this point in time, I think Canelo beats Floyd. I think if Floyd faces Pacquiao right now, at this point in time, I think Pacquiao beats Floyd. I mean, he would get ready for the fight and everything, but I think a lot of stuff has slowed down and decayed over time. You know, even if he does beat these guys, it's going to be a much tougher fight for him. You know, he need tune-up fights and all of that. He's not young anymore. We're talking about a guy almost 43 years old. He's got a lot of wear and tear on him. Hasn't been doing really boxing. He's been doing other things. People will say, well, he's got a much needed rest. Yeah, but you just look at Floyd now. Look at the Floyd Mayweather now as he's promoting fighters, and you'll see that he's not the same Floyd Mayweather of 2015. He's just not. Physically and otherwise, size-wise, he's gotten bigger. His last fight against Conor McGregor, he was slower. Against Ten Shin, he was slower. Of course, he get up into tip-top shape for these guys, Pacquiao and Canelo, but it's just, and then they're talking about like Canelo at 160, because Canelo ain't making 154. That ain't happening. That's not happening anymore, right? 160. Canelo's the same size he always has been. I think he was always a 170 pounder, you know, but my point being that ain't no way Floyd beating them guys right now. Not just jumping back in the ring like he did so many years ago. He's not going to do it. He's just not the same guy. Too much wear and tear on the body, and performing at the highest level, you just can't do it forever. So he's out of the game. I don't think he's going to face Pacquiao second time. He might want to, but he can't. I think he was trying to set up an exhibition for that reason. So he didn't have to cut weight and he could just go in at any weight and face Pacquiao for a limited amount of rounds, you know. But it ain't happening no more for Floyd. You know, his era is over. That's it. You know, Pacquiao's still doing it amazingly. I've told people over and over again, I don't think that Floyd Mayweather is the greatest of all time. That never was my. I never made that point. I never thought he was the GOAT. I always thought the GOAT belonged to, you know, fighters of exceptional degree that have done exceptional things in and out of the ring, just phenomenal stuff. But I was talking about, you know, if you go in the ring, you know, hypothetically speaking, if you go in the ring face Floyd, you're gonna have a tough time with that guy every single time around because he knows so much. And I think it's the same thing with Canelo. I think Canelo's becoming that kind of fighter. Just a very, very tough style to beat. Very tough style to beat. The one thing that was working for people who were facing Canelo was making him come get you. And it looks like he's mastered the art of how to track down an opponent, walk him down. So he can walk you down now and he can still get you. He's very patient. He's patient enough. He keeps his composure. You know, he knows how to work the body. He knows how to counterpunch. So he knows how to lead as well. So that he takes his time and he will get you. You know, he'll get to you. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to beat Canelo. It's going to be tough to beat Canelo. And he's using a similar style as Floyd, but he's a little bit more aggressive. That is to say, well, let's put it this way. He will do whatever it takes to beat you. That is, if he has to adapt his style to hunt you down, he's going to hunt you down. He's pushing back bigger guys than him. He's pushing back bigger guys than him. He's got the bigger guys on the back foot where they're uncomfortable. He pushed back Gennady Golovkin. He pushed back Danny Jacobs, and he pushed back Rocky Fielding. He pushed back Julio Cesar Chavez. This is a guy walking these guys down, mind you. Smaller guy, he's walking the guys down. How's he managing to do that? Well, there's guys that did break down videos on Canelo. You can check them out. You know, whether it's Motivedia Media, or if you look at Mind Smash, or if you look at, well, there was a couple guys who break it down on Facebook as well, just showing you the science of what this motherfucker be doing. Sorry, I should curse. Science of what Canelo was doing. I mean, it's just impressive. He's very impressive. His weakness was trying to hunt down a fighter and get him. Okay, but remember, the smaller Floyd was pushing back Canelo. Remember the smaller Floyd? Smaller Floyd was pushing back Canelo. The smaller Floyd was pushing back Miguel Cotto. The smaller Floyd was hunting down Marcos Maidana and pushing him back in the second fight. And he was hunting down, pushing back in the first fight. If you watch Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence, at certain points in the fight, Mikey Garcia was pushing Errol Spence to the center of the ring. These are special fighters that can do that. They understand angles. They know understand changing levels, getting under your opponent, pushing them back, bumping them with the shoulder. I told you guys about this. Josh Taylor did some of those things, but he was a little bit more rough and rugged. So it's just about getting position on somebody. When you got the position on them, you can do what you want to do. Miguel Cotto did not allow Floyd to get position like he wanted to really outclass and outbox him. When Floyd tried to step around Miguel Cotto, he would block him with the shins, and he would get his big shoulders. He'd get his shoulders. He'd use his guard and use his shoulder. So he's got this big guard, right? He's got this big forearm here, big guard. Miguel Cotto got massive shoulders, even though he come up from 140. So he would take his guard like this and ram his guard into you, so you couldn't circle around him, get you up at the ropes. And then he's a bruiser, so he would work you to the hips. He hit you shots to the hips, to the shoulders, you know, anywhere he could get you. He's a bruiser. Cotto's a big, strong bruiser. All right. So Floyd couldn't get out of the corners like that. So he had to use his skills, fight at the corner, and then dip low. So he changed levels on Cotto, bump him with the shoulder, and then pivot on the bump. It's crazy. I mean, when I saw those things, I was like, anyway. But you know, if you could, oh man, if you could just understand boxing a little bit more, peoples, it would be so nice, because it's just the techniques these guys be using, and the thought process that they got to use, because it's not really thinking. It's stuff that's rehearsed, that you've been practicing time and time again. Whether it's a craft of boxing, which involves sometimes illegal tactics, it involves little things like that, or if it's the skills in boxing, That's what makes boxing to me intriguing and beautiful. Just the kind of the minor, the little things that maybe people have missed. Sometimes you see a guy knock a guy down and you don't realize he got him off balance. He stepped on his foot and then he hit him. And it's counted as a knockdown. These little slick, little slide, little things they do inside of that boxing ring. But yeah, back to the point. Canelo. So yeah, if Floyd comes back, which I hope he doesn't do that at this point in time. I just don't think his body is ready for that, and I don't think he's ready for that. I think physically he's done. It's about it. A lot of people talk about the Conor McGregor fight as being not a legitimate fight that Floyd Mayweather had in his history. I'm gonna talk about that one right now. I think that oh yeah, I was supposed to talk about Floyd versus Sab Judah. I'm gonna get to that. I think that I get what people are saying. I 100% agree that it wasn't a legitimate fight in terms of the kind of competition that Floyd Mayweather should be facing, right? Floyd Mayweather's just got a whole different standard. Even a good fighter like Andre Berto, not really the level of competition of the Floyd Mayweather. So when I talk about cherry pick, these are high level cherry picks because Conor McGregor's a high level cherry pick because he's debutant. He never had a professional boxing bout. But in terms of fighting, he's been there. He's done that. And Conor McGregor was selling the idea to MMA fans, that is, that he was capable of dominating any particular fighting genre. He sold that idea so well that even some of us here in the boxing world, like Skip Bayless, like what's his name? The dude, shoot, he was also with Skip Bayless on First Take. You guys know who I'm talking about, the black dude. Even that guy, the black dude, said, that Floyd wouldn't walk to Conor McGregor. He'd be so slick, Conor McGregor wouldn't touch him. That was his argument. Not understanding that Floyd would walk to him, right? Because Conor McGregor, though he's a striker and everything, in MMA, and those guys wear smaller gloves and everything, they're not boxers, right? They're not boxers. They didn't grow up since they were children boxing. And boxing has a lot to it. There's a lot to the game of boxing. Now, Conor McGregor, to his credit, can do a little bit of boxing, right? He can do a little bit of boxing. He showed that he could do a little something. But his chin was up in the air a lot in that fight. He was much longer than Floyd. He did get to tag Floyd, but again, his leverage, the way how he threw his punches and stuff, maybe that would work in the MMA where he could knock down guys like that. But in boxing, he don't punch good at all, right? He got some power, but he can't punch good enough. And against a fighter like Floyd, who has dealt with bigger fighters who could really punch hard, McGregor, was nothing compared to him. So Floyd could take Conor McGregor's hardest punch and he just walk him down. But yeah, Conor convinced the whole world that didn't understand and don't know shit about boxing that he could beat Floyd. Because he called out Floyd. He's the one that called out Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather answered the call. So because of that, as much as that was a cherry pick for us in the boxing world, for the rest of the world, they had respect for the sport of boxing after Floyd didn't just outbox Conor McGregor. He knocked him out. It didn't go the distance. The fight did not go the distance. All right? I think a lot of people had respect for him after that. And then he fought this kickboxer kid and literally beat the floor mat with him, right? So what Floyd actually did was this. Floyd was showing that the sport of boxing needs respect. That in terms of a martial art, it's probably the premier martial art. And you guys need to respect the sport of boxing. So I felt like, on one hand, this was a spectacle that I wasn't totally interested in. I didn't care because I knew Floyd was going to beat him. I know Floyd was going to stop him, right? But on the other hand, it led off to a number of other events happening in which MMA fighters faced boxers. And we had recently there bare knuckle brawl boxing where Paulie Malignaggi faced an MMA fighter. And the MMA fighter boxed pretty good, even though Paulie outboxed him. And he got the decision, right, over Paulie Malignaggi, right? So we've seen the frequency now of crossover fights start to happen. And now we've been introduced into a new arena where we are having guys who've never boxed before in their lives probably never did any martial arts in their lives, and they're thinking of entering the boxing ring. And this is just great for boxing. And I think a lot of people don't realize all of these things are great for boxing. Think about this. They could have chose MMA to do it in, but they chose boxing. They could have chose wrestling to do it in. They chose boxing. Now we hear Reggie's Prograis say that he will do an MMA fight sometime in his career. We heard Tyson Fury is going into the UFC. We've heard that Clarissa Shields expressed her interest in entering into an MMA fight. We've heard the guy that just recently beat Nate Diaz, or is it Nick Diaz? I can't remember which one it is. And he's expressed his interest in facing Canelo. We've heard Canelo express his interest in facing another MMA fighter, the black announcer dude. I mean, we're hearing this intertwined MMA boxing talk. And I find this very intriguing, to be honest with you, that MMA and boxing is starting to, they're both kind of carrying each other along. And, MMA is being included in the discussion. I'm not interested in MMA. I'll tell you guys that, frankly. I'm not really interested in MMA. That's not my thing. I don't like it. I just don't like MMA. But to hear MMA being mentioned, it's another combat sport and it's a younger breed along with boxing. It's kind of refreshing. And then to hear that Dana White is talking about crossing over into boxing and actually opening up a boxing company, and Dana White is associated with the UFC, is equally more interesting as this MMA and boxing thing seems to go hand in hand. And then we see that the Zone, they do the alternate. They don't do UFC. They do I forgot what the name of it is. This other MMA tournament that they have. So they also they feature that. And then on top of that, we talk about, again, the WWE. We've heard the WWE mentioned a number of times with a number of boxers over time, but now, more frequently now, we're hearing it with Tyson Fury. We've heard it with, recently there, two guys were in the WWE. Conor McGregor was in the WWE. Ronda Rousey was in the WWE. I believe Holly Holm was in the WWE. And then we've seen WWE fighters like CM Punk go to UFC. CM Punk he was in the WWE and then moved across to the UFC. And then we saw some other guy, I can't remember what his name is right now, big, strong, white guy, and he ended up in the UFC as well. So there's this nice little crossover. We're seeing a lot of crossovers. And I like that. Actually, that's kind of interesting that we have so much crossovers. Even though I'm not interested in the WWE, I don't watch the WWE. I didn't watch Tyson Fury in the WWE. I don't even know the results of Tyson Fury in the WWE when he faced whoever he faced in the WWE. I don't follow that, right? I'm a boxing fan. I follow boxing. I'm like Tevin Farmer. I'm not really interested in WWE. I'm interested in boxing. But even so, it's nice to see these little crossovers in combat sports. And we're seeing a lot of phenomenal breakthroughs. We're seeing matchmaking now between promotional companies a lot more regularly now. I think that Mayweather versus Pacquiao kind of opened the door for a lot more of these crossover fights. And also, I'm seeing now a lot of, like Danny Jacobs versus Triple G and all of that stuff that happened. We're seeing a lot more also, not besides crossover fights, we're seeing a lot of crossover between literal fighting styles. From schools of fighting, like boxing, with MMA, with wrestling. And I find this very, very interesting and also very refreshing. With Tyson Fury, we know he's doing all these different activities just to stay busy in between his fight with himself and Deontay Wilder, just to stay in shape. So he's constantly training one thing after another. And what it does set him up for is when he's ready to enter training camp next year to face Deontay Wilder. I think he's starting his training camp in January. He'll be fit enough to be able to face Deontay Wilder, so that's great. And I like that Devin Haney, he's got a quick turnover in fights. So he had one fight in November, and now he's going to have another fight in December, just a month away, to defend his WBC belt, which is also very good that, the turnovers are so fast. Now, let me just talk about Mayweather versus Zab Judah. Why I wanted to talk about that is because a lot of people miss the point that Zab Judah, when Floyd was going to face Zab Judah, right? The fight was set up in 2015, okay? When Floyd was set up to face Zab Judah had just beaten Corey Spinks, who was the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. And Zab Judah just had his first defense, which was against, I forgot the guy's name, but I mentioned him before. Well, it doesn't matter. You guys can always look it up. He had his first successful defense. So Zab Judah was set up to face Floyd Mayweather in January of 2006, and he was the undisputed champion of the world. He decided to do one more tune-up fight. It was going to be against Carlos Baldomir, and that's where he fucked it up. He dropped the ball on that one. Okay, he dropped the ball on that one. But he was the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Floyd was supposed to face the undisputed welterweight champion of the world, and Floyd would have been the undisputed welterweight champion of the world if he had beaten Zab Judah. And it got fucked up by Carlos Baldomir. It kind of reminds me of Deontay Wilder facing Anthony Joshua, and they were trying to make arrangements to make that fight happen just before the Jarrell Miller Anthony Joshua fight and the Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale fight, right? They were trying to set it up. It didn't. The contract didn't come through, but they was going to try and make negotiations after that because Anthony Joshua came to the United States of America. He was fighting to face Deontay Wilder. The whole point of coming to the United States was for people to see him in the debut, see him win, see how dominant he was. He had 3 belts, right? Wilder had the other belt. And so it was supposed to be for the undisputed championship. There was lining up negotiations for that fight. So if Anthony Joshua had beaten, say, Andy Ruiz, and of course, Deontay Wilder beat Dominic Breazeale, it would have lined up for the undisputed championship this year. It would have been around this time this year, November or December of this year. They would have fought for the undisputed championship of the world, right? But a lot of people mix it up. But it got fucked up by Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz fucked everything up. And it's kind of the same situation with Floyd Mayweather and Zab Judah. Floyd Mayweather was supposed to fight for the undisputed championship of the world against Zab Judah. That was what that fight was supposed to be. And then Zab Judah went and faced Carlos Baldomir, and Carlos Baldomir fucked the whole thing up. He beat Zab Judah. Floyd still proceeded to face Zab Judah, but again, the fight didn't have the kind of shine and glory that it would have had if Zab Judah had beaten Carlos Baldomir. And similarly, even if Anthony Joshua beats Andy Ruiz, he's back in the driver's seat, but he's not the A side anymore, especially if Deontay Wilder beats Luis Ortiz and then goes and beats Tyson Fury. He's not going to be in the driver's seat no more. And the guy calling the shots will be Deontay Wilder. By then, he'll be earning in $20 million easy, $20 million. If he gets past Ortiz and he beats Tyson Fury, his paycheck's going to go up. They're going to have to, Anthony Joshua's going to have to give him a much bigger offer because he got a resume. He's got a resume. He beat Luis Ortiz twice, and then he beat Tyson Fury, right? If that happens, I mean, Tyson Fury could either guy could easily throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing, but more so Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury can box very well. He can protect his body pretty well. And we went through that fight, and we saw, hands down, Deontay Wilder wasn't going to the body enough. He was headhunting. I don't know what happened to Deontay Wilder. Usually he goes to the jab to the pit. He's a little bit more systematic with what he does. Hopefully he's learned from that and not headhunt like a clown and instead go to the body. That's what he got to do. And even if Tyson Fury is protecting his body well, figure out a way to go to Tyson Fury's body. Keep on going to the body, go into the body so you can feint and go up to the top and catch him to the head. You got to set up your knockouts. You can't just be trying to go to the body. And the same fucking combination, right hand, left hook, right hand, left hook. Over and over. He just lucky Tyson Fury lapsed for a minute and he caught him. But he needs to stop doing that shit. Stop headhunting. You're not going to catch Tyson Fury flush in the head. Right? And the first knockdown wasn't even a knockdown. And again, that was on Tyson Fury. He lapsed. Right? And so you can't count on your opponent lapsing. You have to work him to the body. Even if he blocks the body shots, keep on going to the body. That'll set you up for go up to the top to the head. Keep on working his body. It don't have to land. It just has to be something that makes the opponent always think that you're going a certain place. And then you can set it up to feint him up top, But, yes, so, and he has to make sure that from the get-go he's first, if he wants to beat Tyson. Anyway, Tyson Fury is a good challenge for him. But Tyson Fury can fight on the inside. We all know this. So Wilder better clean up his inside game as well. Make sure to be prepared for a fight. And this is one thing again with Floyd Mayweather, and we're learning Canelo Alvarez is doing the same. And you notice Canelo Alvarez is staying ready now. He's always training in between fights. One thing people got to understand about these two fighters is they were prepared for anything and everything. They're preparing themselves. If they're deficient in one thing, they're perfecting it so they can get better at that one thing. So that what you will find with Canelo Alvarez and Floyd, well, mostly Floyd, is Floyd was ready for anything that happens in that ring. You saw it against Marcos McDonough. Marcos McDonough was hitting him low blows, was elbowing him and shot. Floyd was still coming back. He was coming back with stuff. You know, he was ready for whatever you bring. Whatever you bring to the table, I'm gonna be ready for it. You know, you got to prepare for anything and everything because anything can happen in that ring. So therefore, you have to be ready for anything, right? A lot of fighters are only ready for the style of the other fighter, or they're just ready for clean sport. No, you got to be ready for a guy that's rough and rugged. You got to be ready for a guy who is willing to do whatever it takes: butt you, bite you, scrap you, hit you, elbow you, headbutt you, thumb you, hit you in the hit you in the hip, you know, knee you, um, rub his shins into you, you know, rub his forearm into your eyes, um, you know, um, hit you in the balls. You got to be ready for anything. Ken Buchanan wasn't ready for that. So when Duran hit him in the balls, he couldn't recoup. You got to be ready for anything in that ring. You have to be ready for anything and everything, because it's a fight, and the referee doesn't necessarily have to allow you, And thanks to the tough fights that Floyd had, and Canelo has all those tough fights as well. He's had all those tough fights to prepare him for whatever situation he can confront in the ring. So that's why it's going to be hard to beat Canelo, folks. It's just what it is. You can like him, you can love him or hate him. It's going to be hard to beat him. I just wish he would be separated from Golden Boy so we could get more crisp, clearer scorecards. There's always one scorecard on Golden Boy's route that's just fucked up, man. It's a fucked up scorecard. And you have people saying, oh, man, this guy was robbed and that guy was robbed, and that shit wasn't true. It is what it is, though. Erislandy Lara versus Canelo, there was a scorecard that was just really whack. 117, 111 or some shit like that. I'm like, fuck no. Fuck no. And that's why they think the fights are rigged. But yeah, back to what I was saying. So Zab Judah was going to be the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. That's what Floyd was. Floyd was going to be undisputed if it wasn't for, that fight being fucked up by Carlos Baldomir. Zab Judah didn't do what he was supposed to do, So I just wanted to mention that because when Showbiz the Adult was talking, there was something he missed out, which is that Zab Judah, he was just talking about Zab Judah like a byword. No. Zab Judah was the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. And Floyd wanted to face Zab Judah because of that. It wasn't just he was interested in facing Zab Judah because of the reputation that Zab Judah had as well. And they came up together and everything, right? So that was one of the major reasons why Floyd wanted to face Zab Judah. And then they still went through it. It was supposed to be pound for pound kings. That was the fight. The title was pound for pound kings. Floyd just became pound for pound after beating Arturo Gatti because Bernard Hopkins had just lost to not Chad Dawson, the other guy at 160. I forgot what his name is. And after Floyd had beaten Arturo Gatti, Floyd had called out Winky Wright. Okay, he called out Winky Wright. Winky Wright was at 160. Winky Wright had just beaten. Felix Trinidad. He had just beaten Tito Trinidad. Right? He had just gone up to 160. He had just beaten Felix Trinidad. And Floyd called out Winky Wright. Called him out. Said, I want to fight with you. Floyd was just about to move up to welterweight. Floyd was now the WBC welterweight champion. He couldn't get Costa Tszyu because Ricky Hatton faced Costa Tszyu that same time Floyd faced Arturo Gatti. And I think Ricky Hatton beat Costa Tszyu's ass. And Floyd beat Arturo Gatti. So there was no hope of Floyd facing Costa Tszyu. So Floyd decided to take on a big challenge. He decided to take on the 160 that just recently debuted 160-pounder Winky Wright, who had just come off of becoming undisputed, defended his undisputed title against Shane Mosley at 154. And so he jumped up to 160 and faced Felix Trinidad. So he was about to have his next fight, and Floyd called him out. Floyd at 140, going up into 147, called him out, said, let's have a fight. And that fight almost came off. That fight almost came off. They came down to the details. They had um, Winky Wright and his team and Gary Shaw had agreed to everything that Bob Arum had thrown on the table. So they were going to fight at 154. There was a rehydration clause that Winky Wright couldn't rehydrate more than 8 pounds over the weight limit. And I think there was something else that to make the playing field balanced because Floyd was going to jump up 2 weight classes and face um, Winky Wright. And then the only thing that they did not agree on was the split. Winky Wright wanted a 50-50 split. He wasn't a world champion, but he wanted a 50-50 split. And Gary Shaw was arguing with Bob Arum, and Bob Arum finally said in the agreement above when it went in the room, Bob Arum said okay. And when Bob Arum was coming down the steps with Gary Shaw, he said no. He said 55-45. I guess Bob Arum rethinking it or whatever, still hashing it with it. And Gary Shaw said no, 50-50. And Bob Arum said no, we can't have a fight then. And Gary Shaw never came back with something. So that's where the whole thing kind of fell apart. But again, it was a lot of risk for Floyd Mayweather to jump up 2 weight classes, 154 to face Winky Wright, who's coming down 160. People claim that he ducked Winky Wright. You can argue that he ducked him, but I mean, like many people say, a lot of people are ducking Winky Wright, but still, you could call it a duck. I mean, I'm not mad at that. You could call it a duck. Winky Wright was ducked a lot in his career anyway. I mean, I ain't mad at that. I mean, Floyd did call out Winky Wright. I mean, was it really a duck? I don't know. I mean, Bob Arum was protecting his fighters. We know how Bob Arum is. Um, so we don't hear about it being a duck. But if you think about it in classical sense of the word, seeing that Floyd went on to face Chombe Mitchell um, at 147, which is no Winky Wright. He had to face somebody at least on the level of a Winky Wright. That is a duck. So you could say he ducked Winky Wright. Winky Wright doesn't say he ducked him. It just says negotiations went, south. But I mean, he also, like I said before, and I was saying to Showbiz the Adult, he also faced Corey Spinks. Floyd was supposed to face Corey Spinks at 154. That was the following year. Um, and what happened was Floyd was at welterweight. He had just beaten Zab Judah. And Floyd wanted to go after Corey Spinks. That's who Floyd really wanted to face. And it was scheduled for the same time that he faced Carlos Baldomir in. And they had their face off and everything. And their agreement, Corey Spinks' side had agreed to some of the terms, and Floyd side had agreed to some of the terms, so they were ready to do it. But then the public was keep on telling him he didn't face the true champion and all this shit. So he ended up having to face Carlos Baldomir, which was an inferior opponent to Corey Spinks. Corey Spinks, by far, was a better, more decorated opponent. You're talking about undisputed champion at welterweight, and again, world champion at super welterweight. And Corey Spinks never faced Oscar De La Hoya. He was slick. He was skilled. I mean, Zab Judah knocked him out, but he was slick. He was skilled. He beat Ricardo Mayorga. He beat a number of really, very good fighters. That would have been a good matchup for Floyd at 154, especially with Floyd again now being a welterweight. He always wanted to face somebody at 154. So Floyd would have jumped up to 154, face Corey Spinks. He did not get Corey Spinks. So what he ended up getting was Oscar De La Hoya in 2007. So he had been trying to get that 154 fight, Floyd. He had only talking to all them tough guys at 154. It was Corey Spinks, I think, was the number one 154 pounder at that time. So Floyd wanted to face him. Zab Judah was the number one welterweight in the world. That's why Floyd wanted to face Zab Judah. And this is the thing that people don't understand. People think that Floyd was a ducker and all this shit. No, he always shooting for the best. And like Jamal Charles shooting for the best. And, but Billy Joe Saunders is shooting for the best. Billy Joe Saunders not going after Gennady Golovkin no more because Gennady Golovkin is not considered the best no more. It's Canelo, right? And he proved it, So everybody's shooting for the best. Demetrius Andre won Canelo. Everybody won Canelo. Why everybody won Canelo? He's considered the best, right? And if you ask any one of these boxers, Billy Joe Saunders, Jamal Charlo, you ask Demetrius Andre, you ask any one of them, even the 168 pounders, they're going to tell you, ask them, who's the best fighter right now? And they're going to tell you, that Canelo right now is the best fighter in the world. They're gonna tell you that because they want to face Canelo. They want to face the best. So if they say that Canelo's not the best, then what they really saying? You know what I'm saying? If they ask you who's the best middleweight in the division, they're gonna tell you it's Canelo, right? And Canelo was talking about it actually with Ellie Seckback. You guys should check out the interview where um, Canelo's training, and so Ellie Seckback asked Canelo about the people who say that you're not the best and you beat the old Kovalev and stuff. So Canelo was explaining, he was saying, that a lot of these people who are talking, they're not in the field of boxing. The guys who are in the field of boxing respect them. They know what it is. It's the people who've never boxed before in their life. The people who just been sitting down, not even trying to box, not even trying to get fit to box, not even trying to do what these guys do in the ring, that be saying these things. And I gotta be honest with you. It's a lot of those people who just don't know boxing really, that look at uh, Canelo or look at Floyd, because they did the same thing to Floyd, and they just don't understand what these guys be doing in there. But for the people who actually box, Jamal Charlo gives Canelo his props. You know, Demetrius Andre gave Canelo his props. He said, Canelo's trying to go after history and make history. And Demetrius Andre understands what Canelo is doing, how difficult it is, what Canelo's doing. You know what I'm saying? Jamal Charlo gave Canelo his props. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. And Jamal Charlo said, I just want a shot. I just want a chance at Canelo. Or a shot at, he always want to go after Canelo. And I think I get what these young guns doing. That's what you're supposed to do in boxing. You're supposed to want to go after the best. You're supposed to want to chase the best. Bebo, he want a piece of Canelo too. He been saying it for a while. I want to see who Canelo faces next, though. Billy Joe Saunders, he want a piece of Canelo. Callum Smith, I don't know if he want Canelo. I don't know what his views are, but he got to get past his next opponent. You know what I'm saying? To affirm, I don't think Floyd is TBE. I have Langford and Sugar Ray Robinson fighting for that spot probably. Man, Sugar Ray Robinson as TBE. I mean, let me put it to you this way. I agree. Sugar Ray Robinson could be TBE. He's a guy that could vie for that spot, for real. But not really. Let me tell you why. Sugar Ray Robinson faced some of the similar style opponents that Floyd faced. And Floyd did better against them. Give you an example. Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull. Bad motherfucker, right? Dominated the middleweight division, right? Just so you can get a perspective on what I'm saying, I'll put it in context. His fighting style was very similar to Jesus Chavez, right? We're gonna go way back in history to the heavyweight champion, the guy who knocked out the guy that knocked out Jack Johnson. Okay, so Jack Johnson got knocked out by the Great White Hope, right? And he got knocked out by Jack Dempsey, the great Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey has a similar style to Jake LaMotta. It's called a swarming style, but more importantly, why I say it's a similar style is because these guys go from low to high. Okay, they jab up, they're in a crouching style, and they come at you off the jab, and they swarm you. Okay, that was Jake LaMotta. So if you look at Jake LaMotta, you look at Jack Dempsey, you look at Marcos Maidana, you look at Jesus Chavez, right? They all have a similar sort of swarming style to them, right? And all of them got knockouts because of that. All of them could punch hard. All of them had hard hands, right? Okay. So when we look at Jake LaMotta versus Sugar Ray Robinson had beaten Jake LaMotta a number of times, okay? Let's just get that straight. But on a particular occasion, Jake LaMotta outweighed Sugar Ray Robinson by 19 pounds. 17 pounds, my bad. 17 pounds, all right? And Jake LaMotta knocked Sugar Ray Robinson out of the ring in that fight he had with him. He beat him up so bad, it was such a rough and rugged fight, that he knocked Sugar Ray Robinson out the ring. Sugar Ray Robinson came back into the ring, and they was fighting. Okay, and Jake LaMotta won that fight. The reason they gave for Jake LaMotta beating Sugar Ray Robinson was that he outweighed Sugar Ray Robinson by 17 pounds. Enter Floyd Mayweather versus Marcos Maidana several years later. Marcos Maidana had the tenacity outweighed Floyd by 19 pounds. Okay? 19 pounds. Came at Floyd like a motherfucker. Okay? He came at him like a motherfucker. Almost knocked Floyd out of the ring. Remember when he tackled him? And he almost went out of the ring. Think about what I'm saying. History repeats itself. But Floyd managed to win that fight against Marcos Maidana. Toe to toe. They went at it. Okay? And he still came out on top. Nobody says that Marcos Maidana outweighed Floyd by 19 pounds. That's why Marcos Maidana won. When he rematched Marcos Maidana, he outboxed him, right? Fine. Mind you, Sugar Ray Robinson had faced Jake LaMotta 2 times before that. Now, in his rematch with Jake LaMotta, he beat him. And in his last rematch with Jake LaMotta, because I think he faced him 5 times, which was called the St. Patrick's Day Massacre, he killed him up, right? He knocked him the fuck out, right? But the point is, he had the experience of facing Jake LaMotta 2 times before that, and still Jake LaMotta beat his ass in the 3rd time, right? Or was it 1 time before? I can't remember. So I can't put Sugar Ray Robinson above Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather showed me that with a similar style boxer, he did better than Sugar Ray Robinson. I'm going to show you another one. Sugar Ray Robinson was beaten by Randy Turpin. Now, don't get it twisted. Randy Turpin could box, but Randy Turpin wasn't all of that. He wasn't all of that. Okay? He'd been beaten by all the other great fighters. The only fighter he beat was a guy called California whatever. I forgot what his final name was. California whatever. That was his nickname. He was a guy, it'll come to me sometime. California, he was a good fighter. All right? You can't have somebody who we ain't know about like that beating you. All right? Sugar Ray Robinson got beat by that dude. This is in his prime we're talking about. Jake LaMotta beat him in his prime. And then Sugar Ray Robinson faced guys who just wasn't supposed to be in the ring with him. A lot of them. While he was world champion. They're called stay busy fights. I can't give him props for that. That's sparring matches. And he's taking advantage of his sparring partners, knocking them out. Right? I can't give him props for that. I got to look at the legitimate fights. And if you start looking at the legitimate fights Sugar Ray Robinson had, all that big fat heap of fights that he had, it boils down to less than half the fights. Yeah. Floyd has about 30-something solid fights when you cut down his resume. His first 12, 18 fights was, trash. But after that, he has solid fights in between. He got 30-something solid fights out of his 50 fights. Okay? But Sugar Ray Robinson, I think he has 50-something solid fights out of his fights. But out of those solid fights, he had rematches. He rematched dudes. Okay? Now, if we look at the twilight of Sugar Ray Robinson's career, where he really faced the real dudes, the twilight of his career, which is the latter half of his career, just like the latter half of Floyd's career, Floyd blows him away. He just blows him away. He just blows him away. Floyd was exceptional. When Sugar Ray Robinson stepped up in competition, when he stepped up in weight class, his 3rd weight class, which was going to be at light heavyweight, all right, and he faced Hall of Famer. I forgot what the light heavyweight champion of the world was at the time. He faced him anyway. I'm drawing blanks, so don't worry about it. The dude's strategy was to wait him out, work the body, and get him late. Get him out of there late. Okay, that was the guy's strategy. Literally, you can read about it. His manager talked about it, and the guy talked about it. I forgot what the guy's name is, which is terrible. I don't know why I just drew a blank, but You know who I'm talking about. Um, they say that Sugar Ray Robinson, he lost because of heat exhaustion. They say he was outboxing the guy easy, but they not paying attention to the body work the guy was doing on him. Okay? Yeah, the referee fainted because of the heat, but the other guy didn't faint because of the heat, the boxer. Okay? So don't give me that Sugar Ray Robinson was fainting because of the heat. And the other guy was supposedly taking a lot of punishment from Sugar Ray Robinson, right? Sugar Ray Robinson got outsmarted. The bigger guy used his size and weight advantage. He leaned on Sugar Ray Robinson. He worked his body and he bided his time. And then he crashed his ass in the 10th and 11th. Sugar Ray Robinson was out of there. He couldn't get off his stool. Okay? That's what happened. I watched the fight. All right? He failed when he moved up in weight. And they made all kinds of excuses for him. I can't give Sugar Ray Robinson that. I can't. Because when Floyd moved up in weight, he was in tip-top shape. He made sure that if he was going to face whoever he was going to face, he was going to be as 100% as he could possibly be. With all the injuries. And remember, Floyd had hand injuries. Sugar Ray Robinson didn't have that. He had the benefit of having good hands. So Floyd had to place his punches perfectly. Sugar Ray Robinson would throw a whole bunch of punches, looping punches, right? He was fast. He reminded me a bit of Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley was more compact. Sugar Ray Robinson was more long and loopy. Always working his jab, right? Sugar Ray Robinson had a good jab. He was always working his jab. But fundamentally, that's all he had in his game. He didn't have those feints that Floyd do. Floyd didn't have to use the jab. He didn't have those feints that Roy Jones Jr. did. Roy didn't have to use the jab. Roy would lead off with a hook just like that, out of clear blue sky. Sugar Ray Robinson also would lead with hooks, but he used his jab a lot. All right? But my point anyway is Sugar Ray Robinson failed when he stepped up in division. And he stepped up against a guy who was not the best light heavyweight in the world. Archie Moore was. And the dude was ducking Archie Moore. Now, he beat some good fighters. He beat Jimmy Bivens. He beat, who he beat again? He beat a young, it was Holman, one of them, right? He got his ass just recently beat by Ezra Charles. Ezra Charles beat his ass. It just happened to not be a light heavyweight fight. So he came in to face Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson was saying, hey, if Ezra Charles could do that, I could do that. And he stepped up in weight to face him. And he got beat. He did what Canelo succeeded at doing. You see what I'm saying? He failed where Canelo succeeded. And once again, let me say, Canelo is like a bigger, stronger Floyd. He's slower, you know, but he is like a Floyd. His mindset, the way how he conducts boxing, the way how he thinks in that ring is like Floyd. And Floyd and Canelo succeeded at beating Kovalev, where Sugar Ray Robinson failed to beat the light heavyweight champion of the world at the time. I can't give Sugar Ray Robinson a heads up on Floyd. Floyd keep on doing things that Sugar Ray Robinson was supposed to do, but he didn't do. He fell short. In the latter half of Sugar Ray Robinson's career, when he was 35 or whatever he was, all right, he dropped the ball against Randy Turpin. He came back. He struggled with Randy Turpin and finally beat him by knocking him out. But he struggled with Randy Turpin. Randy Turpin was still outboxing his ass. And Randy Turpin made a mistake, and Sugar Ray Robinson made him pay for that, and he never recovered. Sugar Ray Robinson stopped his ass. All right? Otherwise, Randy Turpin would have won the second fight. So I can't give Sugar Ray Robinson that he's better than Floyd. If Sugar Ray Robinson faced Floyd, and Sugar Ray Robinson used to get hit way too fucking much. Floyd got a better defense than him. He looped too many fucking shots. He throw all these like low looping shots. Let's not talk about some of the draws that he had with guys like Holly Mims and these guys, okay? Which Holly Mims should have won. With some of these guys, not Holly Mims, but some of these guys should have beat him. But they just didn't get the decision. That's another story for another day. But I'm just saying that Sugar Ray Robinson was a great fighter. Yes, he's a candidate for TBE. But Lennox Lewis got a goddamn better chance than him to be the best ever. Because Lennox Lewis beat everybody. And Lennox Lewis fought till he was what? Till he was near 42, right? He was near 40 when he stopped, right? Floyd was near 40 when he stopped. I think he was what was he? Was He was 38. Floyd was 38 when he stopped. Right? You could call it 40 if you want to include that last fight, but I don't include it. I go up to his 49th fight with Andre Berto. Right? So I'm just saying that, Sugar Ray Robinson, he faced some great fighters and all of that stuff, Bobo Olsen and all those guys. But at the end of the day, I think that Sugar Ray Robinson, when you stop and think about it, his career was very much like Floyd Mayweather's career in terms of attitude. I paint a perfect picture. People described him like that. Floyd did the same thing. The difference was that Floyd didn't stop his opponents as much as Sugar Ray Robinson did because Floyd didn't have the good hands that Sugar Ray Robinson had. He had the pop, he had the power and all of that, but he had to protect his hands, right? So that's why people say Sugar Ray Robinson, because he was long and he could throw punches and he was kind of fast. But I always think that Sugar Ray Robinson reminded me of Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley reminded me of Sugar Ray Robinson. Some of their mannerisms, just the style that they use in the ring and that kind of stuff. Sugar Ray Robinson was a little bit more technical, a little bit longer. And we saw what Floyd did to Shane Mosley. So, I mean, what do you think he'd have done to Sugar Ray Robinson? And Sugar Ray Robinson was hittable. You could hit Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson wasn't going to hit Floyd. He struggled against Kid Gavilan. The first time, he said he was slippery as fuck. Kid Gavilan ain't, if y'all ever seen Kid Gavilan fight, and there's footage of him, he ain't all that. Kid Chocolate, much better fighter than Kid Gavilan. He was a Cuban fighter, yeah, but he wasn't that great a Cuban fighter as all that. But again, people don't watch the fights, they just listen to people. So I mean, it is what it is. I ain't gonna say nothing more about that. People talk about Sugar Ray Robinson was great, at welterweight. I watched his fight at welterweight. I watched him against what was the guy's name? Beckett and shit. It's in color and all. It's in color and all. He wasn't all that great, and the guys wasn't all that great. You know what I'm saying? Intangible Boxing. Hey, Intangible, what's up, my ninja? Intangible Boxing said, Ellie, I wish I was a Mexican setback. Yeah, Robert Garcia. And well, Ellie would be interviewing a lot of fighters. So he'd be in a lot of different gyms. He wasn't just in the Mexican gyms. But yeah, he does hang out by the Garcia gym a lot. He was in Canelo gym. Ellie worked like a motherfucker, though. He'd be inside of the gyms with Buddy McGirt and then be up by that boxing gym with the guy who breaks down different things. He's not just a Mexican dude, but they say he Mexican. They think he's Mexican, but he's not. But he be in all kinds of gyms. He be all over the place in all kinds of gyms. He don't really frequent Wild Card gym no more, but he used to be up in the Wild Card and just all over the place. He be down in fuck is this? The gym with Goosen gym. He be in the Goosen gym. He be all over the place. Mayweather gym, every kind of gym. Ellie's there. Canelo versus Kovalev looked like Arthur Abraham versus Jermaine Taylor. Nah, not at all. Not at all, motherfucker. Not at all. Poobies is drunk. Hating on the past greats again. Come on, man. I'm not hating on anybody. This motherfucker said, this guy said, let me stop cussing. This guy said that he thinks that Sugar Ray Robinson and Sam Langford are better than Floyd Mayweather. So I'm making a case for that. I'm not hating on anybody. So stop with that. I'm making a case why these guys, I think Floyd is better than them because he's done the same and a comparable situation. He handled it better than those guys. That's all I'm saying. I'm not hating on anybody because of that. Y'all need to really get your mind straight, man. Y'all need to get your mind straight. Cause y'all again, you're not listening to people. I'm not hating on anybody. I'm not hating on Sugar Ray Robinson. Y'all need to stop worshiping people and listen to what I'm saying. Right? I'm coming from a factual perspective. If y'all want to sit down and kiss people's nuts and shit, that's your business. But right now, I'm talking from a strictly a boxing perspective. When you look and you compare the styles of certain people who face certain people, and you look at how Floyd persevered under a certain situation where those guys failed, I can't put them ahead of Floyd. That's all I'm saying, right? If you want to put them ahead of Floyd, that's you. But I'm just showing you that Marcus Maidana was like Raging Bull. Okay, he was like Raging Bull. You could talk how much you want unless you can show me that Raging Bull's style was different than Marcus Maidana's style. That Raging Bull was, so much more superior than Marcus Maidana that you could say that he became middleweight champion of the world. I give him that. But Marcus Maidana became super light and welterweight champion of the world. So what are you really saying? What are you really saying? I'm just saying. Marcus Maidana got twice the achievements of Raging Bull. Raging Bull was undisputed middleweight champion of the world because at the time they only had 2 titles. All right, so you got that, but what are you really saying other than that? Raging Bull beat a lot of good fighters as well. A lot of very good fighters. I don't take nothing away from Raging Bull, but so did Marcus Maidana. So what are you really saying? I'm just saying. Right? And like I said before, Sugar Ray Robinson had faced Raging Bull a number of times before and still got his ass beat by Raging Bull. When you got a style that you know already, you should be able to beat that style, regardless of weight. And I'm showing you that Floyd faced comparable guy, same raging, same intensity, but more awkwardness than Raging Bull, because Raging Bull still came from a technical perspective for the most part. He was still a brawler, swarmer. But for the most part, it came from a technical perspective. Marcus Maidana came from a technical perspective too, but he also had this unorthodox fucking style where he could come at these weird ass angles. He was more unpredictable to Floyd and harder to handle than Manny Pacquiao was. Because what you learn in boxing is, as a boxer who's trained in the classical art of boxing, it's the guys who are not orthodox that give you the most problems. That's why they match up a swarmer or an infighter or a fighter, period, with a boxer. A pressure fighter, they call him, with a boxer. That's the perfect matchup because the boxer can get caught with shots that he wouldn't normally get caught with because of the infighter. Again, I'm talking from a boxing perspective, motherfucker. I can explain myself. All right? I can explain myself very, very well. What do you have to come back with? You have to make a counter argument, which you're not doing. You see what I'm saying? You got to come in the corner. You just have a dogma that you believe in, but you don't know why. That's what I'm saying. You got to come with something. What does Jake LaMotta have that Marcus Maidana don't have? If you say he has technique, then God damn it, then Marcus Maidana was more dangerous than him. You saw Floyd get caught with shots from Marcus Maidana he never got caught with before, especially in the first fight, right? Because of his awkwardness, because of the hammer punches that he would come with from weird angles, come over the top of the shoulder roll. And Floyd had to learn to dip to take the heat off of that shit. He had to dip. He had to change his stance. He had to go with a high guard stance. He wasn't going with the Philly shell no more. He was coming with the high guard at him. And if he's coming with the shell, he had to keep distance and range. And Marcus Maidana was dirty as fuck. He was making it a scrap. He said, you a boxer, I got to disrupt your rhythm. I got to disrupt your time. I got to take you out of your game somehow, some way. Floyd was mentally strong. All right? Floyd came in, what was it, 140? He came in 148. Marcus Maidana came in 165. Anybody else would have gotten beaten up. You saw Adrian Broner get his ass whooped. Anybody else would have gotten beaten by that Marcus Maidana in boxing today. And y'all know this. You know where Marcus Maidana is going to fight next? At cruiserweight. Make that make sense. Think Jake LaMotta was ever as big as that? He's going to come back and debut at cruiserweight. Think about what I'm saying. Y'all not thinking. Y'all just talking. You're not thinking. You get what I'm saying? Think about what I'm saying. I ain't just talking out my ass, man. So, I ain't hating on the past greats, Ninja. We talking a comparison. They're hell of greats, and I just said that those are definitely candidates for TBE. As for Sam Langford couldn't get over reach, so he had to face Harry Wills. He beat Harry Wills once in how many goddamn tries? Okay, caught him with an uppercut. All right, but Harry Wills beat his ass like a number of times. All right, now it was at heavyweight. I got to give you that. Harry Wills was a heavyweight champion. I think he faced him at light heavyweight. He faced him a number of times. But basically, Harry Wills had the better of Sam Langford. But the thing about Sam Langford that made him incredible was this dude was coming up from lightweight at the age of 16. I think he entered boxing at the age of 19, sorry. From lightweight. He didn't spend a lot of time at lightweight, right? He moved up to welterweight, and then he jumped up from welterweight to middleweight, okay? But he faced some really great guys. I'm not taking nothing away from Sam Langford. When I looked at Sam Langford's style, however, he won an outboxer. What he was an infighter. So a fantastic infighter at that. He fight at mid-range and inside. He's something like a Canelo. He was something like that, right? And fantastic fighter. Don't get it wrong. I watched him. But I think he's a guy that could get outboxed. Period. He could get outboxed. And so he's explosive and all that shit, but he could get outboxed. Great infighter, though. When it comes to infighting, And Harry Wills was a great infighter himself, which leads me to Harry Wills. Nobody talked about Harry Wills. He was a fantastic fighter, too. He started off, I think, was it at light heavyweight or middleweight? I can't remember. Another fantastic fighter was Ezra fucking Charles. That's another fantastic fighter who started at middleweight and moved all the way up to heavyweight. Became the heavyweight champion of the world. All right? So, I mean, you got a number of them that just fantastic fighters. We can go through history and look at all these fantastic guys who did fantastic things. My thought process and my thinking is when I watch these guys fight, I see how other guys were able to beat them. They were seemingly unbeatable to a lot of guys, but then why they got beaten a certain way was because of X, Y, and Z. So when I look at the fighters and the actual fights of the fighters, I see what they do, which allowed them to be beaten. That's what I'm saying. It's not that easy with Floyd Mayweather. I've been trying to find a way to beat his ass. And the only thing I can think of is you got to find a chess player that's equally as smart as he is. Obviously, that's the first thing you need to have. That understands the end game to make him adapt and adjust as much as possible. And again, on top of that, he has to make. If he makes an adjustment, you have to make an adjustment. If you make adjustment, he got to make adjustment. You got to have that chess play where they have to be constantly making adjustments as you come out round by round by round. I think that's the only way you would actually beat a guy like Floyd Mayweather. You're not gonna beat him just coming out there with some kind of skill set. Oh yeah, he was a great power puncher. Yeah, he was a great boxer. Because Floyd, if you box him too much and Floyd realizes he can't get to you, he's going to infight. He's going to put up his guard and walk to you, and he's going to get on the inside and he's going to work you, right? Because he'll fight the boxer, if you're just going to box. Now, if you can box and you can fight, now he has to select what he's going to do. He's going to have to fight you on his terms. Then he's going to have to box you on his terms. He's going to have to mix it up. And you can see Floyd do that with guys like Zab Judah, who could box and he could fight. You see them do it with guys like Oscar De La Hoya, who could box and he could fight. He mix it up. And that's the whole point behind it, that whatever you brought to the table, he was ready for it. You see what I'm saying? He didn't have all this one-hitter quitter power. He wasn't known for that, especially in the higher weight classes. I would have liked to see Floyd versus, I wanted to see Floyd versus Sean Porter. That would have been a good-ass fight. Intangible Boxing says, I don't care how Ray Robinson performed against him visibly. He faced 19 champions in the era where there was only one body determining a champion. Which means what? Don't mean shit to me. It don't mean shit to me because let me tell you what. He faced more than 19 champs, by the way. And I think Sugar Ray Robinson faced 24 legitimate opponents, or 25, something like that. He faced a lot of legitimate guys. and he beat 16 or 17 of them, I think. Uh, Floyd beat 10 lineal champs, only half of that. Again, doesn't mean shit to me. You know, Floyd beat 18 legitimate guys in half the number of fights. 18 legitimate guys. Talking the best of the best. Legitimate guys. And in his welterweight career, he faced more legitimate guys than any time in his career. But 18, he faced, I could call him off, I don't want to do that. Tangible Boxing says, Marcos Maidana is not as good as Jake LaMotta. What the fuck does that mean? Jake LaMotta's style was more effectively used than Maidana. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Devin Alexander handled Marcos Maidana way more easily than Mayweather. Yeah, that's a Marcos Maidana not trained by Robert Garcia, first of all. Second of all, Devin Alexander took a pounding. Don't even try to say he handled it better than Floyd. He got his eye busted up, and it was swollen like a watermelon at the end of that Marcos Maidana fight. Marcos Maidana bashed his eye in. Okay? And that's not the Marcos Maidana that was trained by Robert Garcia, by the way. Joey Maxim, that's the dude, didn't duck Archie Moore. Yes, he did. He faced him 3 times. You got to sharpen up your boxing history. Nope. Archie Moore beat his ass. He was supposed to face him. Archie Moore was his mandatory, and he stayed that shit off. He finally faced Archie Moore, and Archie Moore beat his ass. It's documented. Ray Robinson moved up from lightweight. Yeah, and Canelo moved. He didn't stay at lightweight very long. He started his career at lightweight, yes. Canelo moved up from 54 and used clenbuterol for the majority of his career. Bullshit. That's a lie. Not even a comparison. That's a lie. And he did not start from 154. Get your information right. He started at 140, super lightweight. Just one weight class above Sugar Ray Robinson. He started at 139. Sugar Ray Robinson started at 130, 134, 130, 135, something like that. It's a big lightweight. Didn't stay at lightweight very long. And don't even talk about clenbuterol with Canelo, man. Don't even start with that. It's not the majority of his career he used clenbuterol. He was only caught dirty once. He was in the WBC USADA clean program since the beginning, since he won the WBC championship. He was being tested by USADA all the time. And then he was the face of the WBC clean boxing program. And when he started getting VADA tested, VADA picked up traces of clenbuterol, which USADA would have just said, nah, that's based on tainted meat. But WADA already has the rule where the clenbuterol levels that are lower than 1% or 0.1, I think, they generally attribute that to tainted meat. But I got to say, though, I think they still need to separate and discriminate between, make sure and confirm that it's tainted meat, not just do it like that, because it could be that somebody's at the end of their cycle or something like that. But Canelo been the face of clean boxing. Y'all just hate on Canelo with that shit, really. But I'm going to let it be. I'm going to let it slide because I'm not going to make no excuses for him. You know why? If you get caught with that shit, that's on you. You got to show that you're innocent as much as you possibly can. The hair sample thing is not reliable, so we can't go with that. Kid Gavilan was one of the ATG welters. Good Lord, you got to get checked. Shut the fuck up. Go and watch him box. Go watch him box and then talk to me, okay? I don't give a fuck that he's an ATG. You know how many ATGs are out there? There's ATGs from the 1920s. That if you see them box today, they all-time greats. But motherfuckers can't handle nobody today from the 1920s. Some of them motherfuckers in the 1920s can't box for shit compared to the guys today. That means something because they're in the Boxing Hall of Fame. You know why we got the Boxing Hall of Fame? You know why they call all-time greats? So that we remember them. So we can see how boxing developed over time. Boxing as a sport has evolved, ninja. Jesus Christ. You're going to look at somebody from the 1910s or from the guys from 1819, and say, oh, they were all-time greats, therefore they were better boxers than boxers today. You would say some shit like that? Think about what you're saying, Ninja. Kid Chocolate was a better fighter than Kid Gavilan. I watched him box. I watched Kid Gavilan box. Y'all hype up fighters from the past, really seriously. Y'all hype up fighters from the past. You know what? Y'all just, I don't know if y'all watch these fights or not. Go watch the fucking fight. And then afterwards realize, oh shit, he ain't really all that. He ain't really all that I thought he was. Go watch the fight first before you talk to me. Because you obviously didn't watch the fights. Go watch fights with Kid Gavilan. He's a good fighter, but it wasn't all that. He ain't no Guillermo Riga now. He got better game, but he ain't no Guillermo Riga now. He ain't sharp like Guillermo Riga now. All right? I'm just saying, you guys need to watch it. He wasn't no Muhammad Ali. He wasn't no Pernell Whitaker. Y'all make it sound like Kid Gavilan was, super slick and stuff. He was slick. He was Cuban school. He was slick. He wasn't no fucking Kid Chocolate. Y'all need to watch the real Kid Chocolate, not Peter Quillen. The real fucking Kid Chocolate. That motherfucker could fight, and that motherfucker was skilled. Skilled. He was no fucking Kid Chocolate. Okay? And for his time, let me just make it abundantly clear. For his time, he was skilled. For his time. Of course, there are a lot more better boxers today. But what I'm saying is, when you look at him, you be impressed. You be impressed. All right? Because boxing has changed a lot since those times. Guys are it's just a lot more different now. It's just a lot more different now. Some things that guys could get away with in the past, they wouldn't get away with now. And they would be looked at as mediocre now because of just the way how sharp people can be in boxing today. It's just different. I'm not trying to put on the past greats. For their time, these motherfuckers were badasses. For their time, some of these guys were advanced. Okay? But we have all this wealth, all this encyclopedia and wealth of videos and of strategy and stuff. And people found ways to do things simpler, but even more effective than in the past. So you got to bear that in mind. So, like I said, boxing is evolving. And you can see that it's evolving. You can see that even the way the new audiences, the new people, it's just changing all the time. It's constantly evolving. And I keep on saying it. I'm a proponent of that. You can't be looking at the past guys and thinking that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And you're not looking to the future. And thankfully, the people in boxing are doing that. And they're pushing the anvil forward. But a lot of y'all guys out there, y'all pushing the anvil backwards. You know what I'm saying? Poopy says strong. I usually heavily disagree with you, but opposites must come together. You sound like Jalik now. Ninja, I sound like me. I'm not Jalik. I'm not nobody. Intangible boxing. Devon won a shutout against Maidana, but he got his eye busted up. Did he not? Okay, then. Jake LaMotta got his ass beat by some no-namers as well. So if you're going to go there, at least know that Devin Alexander was a name, okay? Intangible boxers, are you just dismissing all my points like doesn't mean anything that Ray Robinson beat 9 lineal titleists? Which means what? It just means he beat the man that beat the man that beat the man. That's all it means. All right? We look at names, motherfucker. Names. I don't rate fighters based on skill, only accomplishments and resume. I rate fighters based on everything. I rate fighters based on skill, heart, the will to win. I look at their resume. I look at their accomplishments. I look at what they did inside the ring. I'm watching at the actual fights to see their vulnerabilities, what they can do well, what they can't. Could I have beaten these? Could I have had a fighter that was training could beat these guys? How to beat these guys? I look at all of that shit. So when I talk, obviously it's got to be based on skill. You can't tell me not skill. Skill is part of it. And skill is not your God gifting or your talents. Skill is what you've been trained to do and you rehearsed it. So we look at hone skills particularly, not just skill, because a lot of fighters have different skills. It's hone skills, because that's what you use. That's your tools in your tool bag to win fights. So you have to look at skill. You have to. You have to. No ifs, buts, or maybes. I think I gotta cook you tonight. You can't cook shit, so shut up. Intangible Boxing says, I bet you think Canelo is better than Ray Robinson. I don't know if he's better than Ray Robinson right now. I think that he has a way to go in his career, but at the end of his career, you wouldn't be asking that question. At the end of his career, you wouldn't be asking that question. You'll already have your answer. He's 29 right now. All right? So, but at the end of his career, we can have this discussion. His career is not over. But the fact that you are even entertaining that thought and even thinking that I would think that thought is interesting to me. Intangible Boxer said, Floyd, in my opinion, is no more advanced evolutionary-wise than Ezra Charles. You out of your fucking mind then. You out of your fucking mind. Ezra Charles used to use the stick. That's why he used the stick so much that he got set up by the stick. Jersey Joe Walcott set him up. Go watch that fight where Jersey Joe knocked his ass out. Go watch it. Set him up with a very stick that he liked to use. Think about what I'm saying. Smart fighters. That's what we call them. All these fighters today are a product of what old trainers and fighters taught. Yeah, and there are documents of the shoulder roll being used in the 20s. Man, fuck the shoulder roll. Y'all like to talk too much about the fucking shoulder roll. Take the shoulder roll away from Floyd. He still beat asses. Take the shoulder roll away from Floyd. He still beat asses. Fuck the shoulder roll. Y'all know very little about boxing. If that's all you think Floyd Mayweather does in there, the shoulder roll, fuck the shoulder roll. But yes, of course, everything is built on the old-time greats. There would be no modern boxing today without the old-time greats. There would be no modern boxing today without the old-time trainers. There must be a foundation. Something is built on a foundation. You're making it sound like I hate the old-time greats. Motherfucker, I never said I hate the old-time greats. But if fucking boxing must evolve as a sport, how the fuck you can tell me that Floyd is not better than these guys? He got all these guys to look at, right? He takes it all in, and he puts out a gem of a performance every single time, a polished performance every single time. Canelo faces Floyd in the ring. He becomes a super better fighter. You don't expect Canelo to become a better fighter because of that? What are y'all on a hating ass shit? You can't give Floyd TBE, but you could give Sugar Ray Robinson? I heard one motherfucker say, and this is a guy back in the 60s. Sugar Ray Robinson was from the 40s to the 60s. That's a guy from the 40s to the 60s. Yes, the guy inspired pound for pound along with the Ghetto Wizard in the 30s, right? Yes. But come on, man. How long y'all gonna stay in that time warp and give people the credit they deserve? This motherfucker gave you the best career ever. Motherfucker undefeated after 50 fights. Beat everybody. Went up weight classes. Faced every fucking style that you have to mention. But he can't get TBE. It still stick with some motherfucker back in the 60s and the 40s. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Listen to yourself. Man, I give convincing arguments. Listen to yourself. Sugar Ray Leonard's a better boxer than Sugar Ray Robinson. We all know this. He did what Sugar Ray Robinson couldn't do. He beat a light heavyweight. It was at a catch weight, but he beat the light heavyweight. He stopped his ass. And he started from welterweight. Then he became middleweight champion of the world, facing the best middleweight in the world. And then he went up to light heavyweight, didn't face the best light heavyweight in the world, just like how, as much as people give, the kid that we just talked about, who I completely forgot again, Such an unmemorable guy. Though he beat some good fighters, don't get me wrong, including Archie Moore early in Archie Moore's career. He beat some good fighters, but he wasn't the best middleweight in the world. Archie Moore was, and he proved it. And he ducked Archie Moore. He ducked Archie Moore. He ducked him. Okay? He ducked Archie Moore. It's documented. Go watch it. Go Google it. My point anyway is Archie Moore was the best middleweight in the world at the time. Didn't want to face Archie. I didn't want to face Archie Moore because he knew he was going to get his ass beat. But nonetheless, the point is, I digress. Sugar Ray Leonard didn't face the best light heavyweight in the world either. Okay? Was it? I think it was Donnie Lalonde was his name. The best light heavyweight in the world was either Michael Spinks or it was that dude with the Islamic name. I can't remember which one it was. Okay? But he beat the dude. All right? So he had light heavyweight. He had the light heavyweight title, which is not really a light heavyweight title. It was the catchweight, nonetheless. It's catchweight. It's light heavyweight. So, and then he had the middleweight title, and then he had the welterweight title. Sugar Ray Leonard had 3 of the original divisions titles. That was a little stretch. All right. Sugar Ray Leonard came up from super lightweight, like Canelo. That's where he started off. Super lightweight, moved all the way up, and touched, even though he never made it, really, light heavyweight. He did what Sugar Ray Robinson didn't do. These are facts. Dispute it with me if you want, but they're facts. What are you going to say? He used crack cocaine? I mean, I don't know what else to say. You don't say that about Sugar Ray Leonard, but you're going to say that about Canelo? You going to call him clenbuterol? You see what I'm saying? I'm making my argument. I want to hear what you have to say because you can't come back. I know you can't come back from this because all of y'all fit in some fucking dogma. I don't disagree with Sugar Ray Robinson being, the best and inspired pound for pound. If you want to call him the pound for pound #1 great of all time, give him that because he inspired it. All right. But to tell me, we are now in the year 2019, looking back at 2015, a guy that spanned his career from 1998 to 2015. Floyd Mayweather don't deserve to be TBE. You want to take that away from him because of what? Unfair, necessary criticisms. You just out of the clear blue sky. Sugar Ray Robinson, he had 100 and something fights. He beat all the great guys of his era. Yes, but he also lost to a lot of the great guys of his era. Floyd did not lose to anyone in his era. It's on paper. How do you beat back that? He faced a comparable amount of great fighters, or at least distinguished fighters, elite fighters, the top guys in the world, right? He faced a comparable amount of them as Sugar Ray Robinson did. I mean, he beat a comparable amount of them as Sugar Ray Robinson did in half the number of fights. He didn't have all them stay busy fights in between like Sugar Ray Robinson did. He didn't have them cab drivers that you pull off the street and beat their ass. He got the same knockout ratio as Sugar Ray Robinson. Yet they call Sugar Ray Robinson a devastating puncher. All right? Just saying. Being real here. So this dogma about Sugar Ray Robinson was this and that and the other. Cool. That's cool. That's cool dogma. But let me just tell you this. There are guys that surpassed Sugar Ray Robinson. And you know what the thing about Sugar Ray Leonard is? Sugar Ray Leonard did all of that fantastic stuff in less fights than Floyd Mayweather did. How about that? But he got beat. He got beat by Roberto Duran. Floyd was never going to get beat by Roberto Duran. Not like that. Ain't nobody getting in Floyd Mayweather's head. I'm making him fight their fight. But Ray flipped the switch on Roberto Duran, and he got him just where he wanted him. And he did the same psychological warfare back at Roberto Duran. And let's be real. When he faced When he faced Tommy the Hitman the second time, we all know Tommy the Hitman won that fight. No disrespect to Sugar Ray Leonard, but we know what it was. Sugar Ray Leonard even acknowledged Tommy beat me that night. He got the draw, but he acknowledged, like a real man, that Tommy the Hitman Hearns beat him that night. And if that Thomas the Hitman Hearns showed up against a Floyd Mayweather would have a lot of problems. He'd have had a lot of problems. But I think, again, his defense would have won out in the end. He probably would still get the W because that's just Floyd. But maybe not, because that Thomas the Hitman Hearns had all game. He was still wearing out in the end, but he had game, boy. That boy had game, all-round game. That Thomas the Hitman Hearns was not the same as the welterweight Thomas the Hitman Hearns. Was stringy. I'm just saying, I don't know about y'all guys, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of things y'all follow, dogma that y'all just blindly follow. Go check out the fights first. Go watch the guys face these guys. Don't just believe the mythos behind them. Oh, yeah, there was great fighters. They were all-time greats. They were Hall of Famers. I get that. Boxing Hall of Fame is there for people, to remember the foundation. We're not disputing that. That's like telling me that when we think of Will Chamberlain, you know, or when we think of, I'm using a basketball analogy here. When we think of Michael Jordan, nobody's greater than Michael Jordan in the history of boxing, or nobody's greater than Will Chamberlain in the history of boxing, or nobody's greater than something Russell, whatever his name was, for the Celtics, right? Will Chamberlain was for the Lakers, right? Or nobody's better than Larry Bird in the history of boxing. I mean, right now we got Steph Curry. Steph Curry, he ain't better than Larry Bird? Come on now. Well, Larry Bird had the clutch, and basketball was different today. No, but Steph Curry though. Steph Curry, he rains three under pressure. He rains threes. He makes it rain. He could throw a three from the other end of the court and make it score, like if it's nothing. See, sport evolves, man. So y'all got to get used to that, right? Now, Larry Bird sparked it off so that Steph Curry could even become that. Steph Curry must have looked at Larry Bird and got inspiration, just like how Floyd got inspiration from Sugar Ray Robinson and Sugar Ray Leonard. Muhammad Ali, he got inspiration from these dudes to take it to the next level. Roy Jones Jr., took a little bit from Sugar Ray Robinson. He idolized Sugar Ray Robinson. I mean, you got to look at the fact that we have a new breed right here that's going to blow away Floyd Mayweather's records. They're going to blow away Floyd Mayweather's records. We got a lot of young fighters becoming world champion very young. They're going to blow away Floyd Mayweather's records. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo at the end of his career got a much more decorated resume than Floyd Mayweather has. It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be that way. Now, whether you boxing fans will give them the credit that they deserve is a totally different story, but it's supposed to be that way. They're supposed to be inspired to push the sport along. And don't tell me shit about, oh, boxing's the same as it was back then. Fuck no. It is not. Okay? It is not. So stop with the bullshit. We still look at the past greats. We still look at the fundamentals of boxing from the past greats. But it is so evolved from then. And there's so many different styles that are unique today. And we even see it in the Eastern European styles, which brings something new to the table all the time. So stop with that bullshit. All right? And if boxing didn't evolve, then it would be boring as shit. We'd be saying the same shit over and over again. We don't ever get that. Intangible Boxing says all these fighters are today are a product of what old train. Again, okay. You can't argue against my points, which is why I dismissed them. Man, shut the fuck up. Is Floyd even better than Muhammad Ali? Muhammad Ali beat 21. Oh, come on, man. You serious? Are you serious? Muhammad Ali, who get caught with a straight right, and he don't cover up after he throw his jab, so he get caught with the left hook. Are you serious? Are you serious? Don't even start with that. Don't start with Muhammad Ali, bro. Muhammad Ali he was a great fighter. He's the greatest of all time. He ain't the best boxer out there. He ain't the best. He's just not the best. He's just not the best. Okay? We're talking about the best. We're talking about in the ring. We're not talking about greatest. Okay? Ali beat 21 of 26 top 10 opponents in his years. Yeah, but what did he bring to the table, Ninja? The guys who we talk about that are important are Ken Norton. We talk about George Foreman. We talk about Joe Frazier. We talk about you know Ernie Schaefer's a bit. And by the way, Ernie Schaefer's be in there with Floyd Mayweather as well. George Foreman be in there with Floyd Mayweather as well. All these guys that you're talking about, even including Muhammad Ali, they pass on information to these younger fighters. You got to be teachable. And what you don't understand is these old guys, these old greats passed on things to the younger guys. That's the thing you don't get. It's not like Floyd just talking about he the best ever, just like that in a void. Information was passed on from the other guys to these younger guys. Sugar Ray Leonard passed on stuff to Floyd. Don't get it twisted. All right? And that's the point that you're not getting. It's a fraternity. It's not just something where information is always passed along. You just saw Canelo, he was talking to people. Gennady Golovkin, he'd be talking to the young fighters. Pernell Whitaker, he passed on things to DeMarcus Corley, Zab Judah, Floyd Mayweather, and a set of guys. The champions would keep on talking to the younger fighters, encouraging them. That's what you don't see in the background. You don't see the Lennox Lewis giving Deontay Wilder pointers on the jab. You don't see these things. So you think that when I say that Floyd Mayweather is TBE and he said he's the best ever, you're thinking that means that he just disregarded these guys. He's not disregarding nobody. But he got tips from the best. The best told him he would be the best. Why do you think everybody was watching at him when he was coming up and they were saying, this guy better than Sugar Ray Leonard. He looks like he's going to be better than Muhammad Ali. That's what Bob Arum said. Bob Arum said that about Floyd. He said, this is my best fighter today. He's going to be better than Muhammad Ali. He's going to be better than Sugar Ray Leonard. He said that. He said that. Then he turns around and says something different now. Because Floyd ain't his fighter no more. He said the same thing about Terrence Crawford. He said the same thing about Lomachenko. But y'all selectively listen to what you want to hear. Why do you think Bob Arum didn't want Manny Pacquiao to face Floyd? He knew what the outcome would have been. He know Floyd. He ain't stupid. He been in boxing a long time. He know what would have happened. So, I mean, I'm just telling you guys things so you could get things in perspective here, right? You can talk how much you want out of the top of your lungs about he faced this linear champion, he faced this dude, he faced that dude. You can talk all of that stuff. But here's the problem with it. When I look at these guys that you call the champions, I look at these guys who you call linear champions and stuff, and I look at their fighting styles, and I look at what they did, and I ask myself, could a Floyd Mayweather beat that? Could his opposition beat that? Can I get a yes or a no? Okay? So, ask yourself this question. Because, like I said before, there were certain techniques that were not popular back in those days. All right? High guard. The guy who started using the high guard was the guy that beat he beat Sugar Ray Robinson a number of times. He got knocked out once. Right? He was using a high guard. He was still a scrapper, but he used the high guard and used a jab. All right? He was a scrapper, and he used to beat almost everybody until Dick Tiger beat his ass. Right? And Dick Tiger was a great middleweight, a champion, as we all know. Okay? But the point is that what I'm making is that you have to look at not just the accolades that associate with these guys, but you got to actually go and watch the fights. Go and actually watch the fights of these guys. Okay? Because they're guys who didn't have accolades. They didn't have nothing, but they was great fighters. And one of them is Ralph Tiger Jones. Holly Mims. The Cuban dude, which I just can't remember his name right now. There were some really good fighters who never won world championships. All right? So you can't just be looking, you're talking about lineal titleists and so on. I know there's some of the guys that weren't champions or nothing, but they were lineal titleists. But they weren't when Sugar Ray Robinson faced them. When he faced them at the time, they weren't lineal titleists. Right? But He beat some lineal titleists. They didn't have the lineal title at the time. He beat guys like Sammy Angut. He beat guys like shit, Henry Armstrong, etc., etc., etc. Right? I get what you're saying. Right? And then his win over Henry Armstrong. I mean, Henry Armstrong was boxing, but I mean, it was really for a paycheck. You know what I mean? That was not Henry Armstrong, the Henry Armstrong. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know. He got Henry Armstrong on his resume. That's kind of like Canelo versus Shane Mosley. That wasn't really the Shane Mosley, but he did a good performance, but it wasn't the Shane Mosley that we know. You know what I'm saying? But, he still put on a hell of a performance against Canelo, you know. But, it's just to put a name on a resume there with that one. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We got an hour, 35, 37. Let me just go through what Intangible is saying here. I, to be honest, thought Hearns was the best of the four kings. Nah, he wasn't, but it was good. Sugar Leonard was the best of the four kings. Period. Point blank, period. He was the best. You saying something nice about the past time greats? Of course. I give them their props, Ninja. Like I said, I'm going to do a piece that is breaking down the past greats. Intangible Boxer says, "Don't talk basketball ever again." Man, shut the fuck up. I've been around basketball before you was born, Ninja. You do realize I'm 40-something years old. I'm twice your age, right? Steph Curry is better than Larry Bird. I know more basketball than you 10-fold. No, you don't. I was watching basketball before you was born. Okay? And in the 80s. In the 80s and the 90s. Okay? That's when Larry Bird came up. You had the Lakers versus the Celtics, and you had the Bulls versus the Celtics. You know anything about that shit? Larry Bird was clutch. Okay? Like I said before, Steph Curry could do things that Larry Bird just couldn't do. But he was clutch. It was a different form of basketball. It was more physical and everything. All right? So don't even start. You ain't know shit about basketball like I do. Poopy Sistron says, Shields won't fight Crawford. I told you she can't beat him. Joke's on you. Shields still won't fight Crawford. You don't know about that, Ninja. You don't know. I'm pushing it still. So what the fuck are you talking about? Larry Bird was a better defender, much more clutch, more final MVPs, more consistent, had 20, 50, 40, 90s. You can go on. 20, 50, 40, 90s. What are you talking about? Had 2 50, 40, 90s. And I could go on and on and on. Listen, man, like I said before, he was clutch. Yes, we know that. He was he had made more finals because the Celtics as a team was a better team. The Celtics, even to this day, still work together in teamwork. Larry Bird would pass. Yes, he had assists. Yes, he had scorings, assists, and so on. But again, it was a different era. Like I said before, Steph Curry, the dude today, the boxing, the way how basketball is even different right now from what it used to be anyway. But Steph Curry could do some shit that, I mean, it's just crazy what he do, okay? And Steph Curry is clutch. That's just what it is. He clutch. You can give him the ball, he going to still land a three. He going to drop those threes in there regardless. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. So, like I said before, people say Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, and there was some great rivalries between Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, the Bulls. They just couldn't get past the Celtics. It was the Bulls versus the versus Detroit Pistons. Bulls couldn't get the breakthrough. Finally, they broke through to the Detroit Pistons, right? We always have the Bulls versus the Utah Jazz. Man, it was some shit, man. The Bulls versus Reggie, what was it? Reggie, what was his name? See, I'm forgetting things now. Anyway. His sister was a great basketball player as well. Reggie Jackson, I think it was. No, it wasn't Reggie Jackson. Was it Reggie Jackson? No. I can't remember what his name was. But, I was there. I saw all that shit live. Good stuff. Brings back memories. But even so, like I said before, Steph Curry, incredible basketball player. And to say he not better than Larry Bird is to be nuts. That's like saying, right now we have the discussion with Michael Jordan and what's his name? LeBron James. the discussion about LeBron James being better than Michael Jordan. We have these discussions, and you have to understand, no matter what you think, Ninja, and Michael Jordan was a hell of a player. Very innovative, relentless player. But there is a case for saying that LeBron James, even though he ain't got as much championships and shit, is better than Michael Jordan. Why? Michael Jordan didn't move to another franchise and elevate it. LeBron James did. Right? He moved from the Miami Heat. He moved back to Cleveland, Cleveland, and he got a championship. Now he's at the LA Lakers. I don't know if he'll get a championship, but if he gets another one with the Lakers, he'd have done something Michael Jordan never did. He'd have done something Larry Bird never did. He'd have done something that Magic Johnson never did. He'd have done something that Wilt Chamberlain never did. He'd have done something that, you know what I'm saying? You get my point. So, there's all kinds of arguments you can come up with to show that these guys are better than the other guys. The present guys are better than the past guys. But then again, remembering the sport changed a bit, you got to bear that in mind too. Right? So, it's how you put things in context. And you assess. Like I said, Seth Curry, he could throw a three from half court and land it if necessary. And he's a clutch fighter too. He's a clutch basketball player too. He can get the shot in the clutch. LeBron James prefers to pass it off instead of going for the clutch shot. Doesn't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. Still as effective. If they get in the win, a win is a win. You understand? People look at him as a big, strong guy and think that he should get the W. Of course, Michael Jordan was much more clutch in the play. He would take the final shot. But who says you have to be the guy to take the final shot? So like I said before, it's a paradigm shift where a lot of people feel that you're the major player, so you should be able to take the final shot. No, Ninja. Once the ball go into the rim, that's what counts. However it gets in there. However you get the W. Right? Yeah. Michael Jordan had a lot more highlight reels. So did Kobe Bryant. But so did also the kid from Philadelphia, who I can't remember his name right now. Great player. But you got to pass the fucking ball. Highlight reels only do so far. They don't get the W all the time. It's a team sport. With boxing, it's not a team sport. Okay? Now, here's where there's the difference between the best ever and the greatest. And this is why when we're talking about the greatest, you talk about all kinds of other things. All right? When we're talking about the greatest that ever did it, we factor in a lot of other things. And I don't think that Floyd is up there with the greatest of the greatest. Okay? There are a lot of great fighters. Okay? I would assume Sugar Ray Robinson would be greater than Floyd even. All right? But if you're talking about the best ever, which has to do with what you see in the ring, has to do with the performances in the ring, you have to look at that shit. It's totally different. It's totally different. It's totally different. If you want to hang on Sugar Ray Robinson's nuts, no problem with that. You like Sugar Ray Robinson. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right? That's your best ever. But in terms of me, I'm looking at it objectively. Seriously, I'm looking at it objectively. And ain't no fucking way in hell Sugar Ray Robinson's a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather. If the two of them go in the ring, Sugar Ray Robinson's going to get beat by Floyd Mayweather. He going to beat Sugar Ray Robinson. He's going to beat him. It's hypothetical, but he would beat Sugar Ray Robinson. All that power ain't mean shit because he ain't landing shit. If he struggled with Kid Gavilan, how are you going to beat Pernell Whitaker? Tell me, how is he beating Pernell Whitaker? Tell me how all them guys beating Pernell Whitaker. None of them motherfuckers could beat Pernell Whitaker. Then how they going to beat Floyd? How they going to beat Floyd? They get hit too damn much. That's what the best ever is. The lowest plus minus ratio is by Floyd Mayweather. You ain't touching that motherfucker just like that. So how you going to beat Floyd? If you're going to be the best, you got to beat the best, right? So how Sugar Ray Leonard beating Floyd? We know how Floyd going to beat Sugar Ray Robinson, but how Sugar Ray Robinson going to beat Floyd? That's what the best ever is about. That's what it comes down to. Skill pay the bills. Hone skills. The will to win. Or heart. conditioning. The man has it. He had it all. Pernell Whitaker had it all. Like I said before, y'all can go ahead and harp on all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, ain't nobody could have beat Floyd. And y'all know that. Y'all know that. But y'all don't appreciate the weirdest thing will be when about 20, 30 years after, oh yeah, Floyd Mayweather. They're going to bring him up. And they're going to be talking to like him about, just like how they talk about Sugar Ray Robinson. But by that time, they're going to be a motherfucker much better than Floyd. Much better than Floyd. Tangible Boxing says Floyd Mayweather evolved absolutely nothing. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. His dad and Roger taught him everything. No, no, no. No, no, no. You are absolutely incontrovertibly wrong. His foundation was his father. But he learned things from sparring Pernell Whitaker. He learned things from sparring great champions. Like the guy who beat Julio Cesar Chavez. When he was 17, 18 years old, he picking up things like a sponge, adding to his resume. He watched guys like Roy Jones Jr. As much as Roy Jones Jr. idolized Sugar Ray Robinson, Roy Jones Jr. had his own style, his own ambush style. Sugar Ray Robinson didn't have an ambush style like Roy Jones Jr. did. You can't compare Roy Jones Jr.'s style to anything you've seen. And Floyd idolized Roy Jones Jr. I know I idolized Roy Jones Jr. I loved what he did. Untelegraphed punches. Just out of the clear blue sky, he'd just be throwing a punch. Untelegraphed. That shit was crazy. It was lit. It was like a snake. Uncoiled. Boom. Once he got you hurt, then he'd crash you. But before that, he was sniping you. Like a beast. Timing, everything. No, Floyd didn't learn everything from off of Roger and his father. They could only teach him so much. And guess what? According to his father, he had learned everything he had taught him by the age of tender 10. 10 years old, he was beating his father's ass. There you go. So he learned the fundamentals from his father. He'll even say, everything you taught me, I learned. Yeah, of course, everything you taught me, he kept to, the principles. But Floyd got a lot more than what his father taught him. His father he knew about using the shoulder roll. Floyd used more than the Michigan defense. Like I said, he dips, he bobs and weaves. He walked to you, bobbing and weaving, keeping the high guard up. His father never taught him that shit. Roger Mayweather never taught him that shit. Roger Mayweather never used the high guard. So where he learned it from? He used a little bit of Jeff Mayweather. Y'all say Roger Mayweather and his father taught him everything. Jeff Mayweather also taught him something. How to move that head movement. How to sink back, rock back, and swivel a certain kind of way. The infighting. Mayweather Sr. taught him so much. But he do some different things in there that Mayweather Sr. don't do. Who taught him that? Who taught him that? So no, it's not just Mayweather Sr. and Roger Mayweather. You know that Floyd was with Freddie Roach for a while. Just little scoops, little tips to let you know he was under different people, different times. He learned a thing or two from Mike McCallum. They wouldn't tell you this shit. It wasn't just Whitaker. It wasn't just Floyd Mayweather Sr. You move around. Sometimes you go to different gyms. I was listening to actually Devin Haney's father, Bill Haney, talking about this. How actually, just like Floyd, he said, Devin goes from different trainers to different trainers, picking up different things. It's not just exclusively one trainer. You go to different gyms and you learn different things from different trainers. And he was saying Floyd did that too. See, these little tidbits, if you listen and fill in the gaps, you realize Floyd was doing that too. It's about being able to be a sponge and learning, taking what you need necessary for you, for your game. He learned the fundamentals from his father. But you can't be able to adapt to any style and adapt to anything in the ring if you're not
picking up different things from facing different people and sparring and fighting and getting even tutelage and training from different people, being under different people. So no, I disagree with that as well. And there's evidence in interviews and so on, and evidence even in just the way how he fights that shows that he has more than what his father trained him with and what the Mayweathers trained him with, all the Mayweathers. Besides that, he also knows when to use what when. That's a decision making. That's smarts that he didn't only intuitively know, but he learned from facing the great guys like Pernell Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker taught him about keeping your composure and that kind of shit. So he would take it now and evolve it into his own thing and make his own adaptation, but he would rehearse the fundamentals and then build off of the fundamentals. See, when I say boxing as a sport evolved, just like with any sport, there are fundamentals to the sport. Okay? If you're doing sprinting, there's fundamentals to sprinting. Sometimes the fundamentals slightly change, but there's fundamentals and training routines we have in sprinting that stay the same throughout time. But now we have science and techniques and stuff to help monitor that and fine tune it. All right? Just like with boxing, there are fundamentals to it. The check hook is nothing new, right? But how it is executed can be done in new ways. So how Floyd executes the check hook is a unique way that Floyd uses, which incorporates defense as well as incorporates offense, right? He snaps back while pivoting off the lead foot, while rolling the punch, throwing the check hook. So he's completely out of the way. You're not going to catch him with a headshot. You're not going to catch him with a body shot while he's check hooking you. Okay? But the check hook can be implemented several different ways. Okay? It can be implemented off the pivot, just simply a check hook off the pivot. It can be implemented by not pivoting, just moving a step back and check hooking the guy as he's coming in. It can be implemented by looping the check hook downwards and then upwards, like Roy Jones Jr. would do it. Okay? So it looked like you're going to check hook the guy to the body. It's a feint to the body, go up to the head. A big looping shot. So it depends on how you want to implement it. And there's several other ways to implement it. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of evolution. So you can have the fundamentals of boxing, but evolve it and twist it to a style that is specialized to you and a specialized way of executing a particular thing. Right? There are several ways to shoulder roll. All right? The Mayweathers executed a particular kind of way, but there's several ways to do it. Right? And there's several ways to say, for instance, jab. Okay? There's several ways to jab. Okay? And even in the execution of those different ways of jabbing, there are different ways to do it. And then on top of that, there are new kinds of jabs where you have hybrids in between those two types of jabs, which may be effective. And that's the beauty of boxing. Boxing is a thing which it's all about evolution. It's all about change. Now, let me show you how the sport itself has changed in itself. We've seen several killings recently, right? So we know that boxers are much stronger than they've ever been in ever. They're much stronger. A lot of boxers are a lot more athletic than ever. Boxing used to be a sport where there were athletes in there and stuff, but these days, it's gone to a whole other level. We got the athletic fighter, right? Period. Right? They can go. Get strong. They don't tire. And of course, they are all using PEDs. All right? Maybe legal PEDs, but they're using something to enhance their performance, right? You can't be an elite fighter and you're not using something to enhance your performance. I don't believe in that. I believe that's what they're doing. So at the end of the day, bigger, faster, strong. Once upon a time, because people love rock and sock and robots, the defensive fighters was not as. I think the defensive fighters has gotten a little bit better. I think the skill set has narrowed down. It's become more simplified. I think that a lot of things have been lost in the sport of boxing, but again, it has to do with why skills have been simplified. Certain skills are unnecessary when you have a particular kind of stance. So what do I mean by that? It's called perfecting the stance, right?
So you see guys like Errol Spence where they're doing balancing acts and all this shit. It's to work out a particular stance. And fighters now are working on stance so much to be perfectly well balanced, um, so that you're not only perfectly well balanced, but you're also in a mode where it's really hard to hit you. You know, like before. It's harder to hit you like before. But I also believe that boxers today are taking less risk, and I think that they're playing more chess, especially the elite ones. And so it's really about one person making a mistake for the other person to capitalize on. So the boxing today is not as it was in the 90s, 80s, and 70s, and even 60s, where you had big championship fights where it was like, you know, one guy could still hit the other guy. Take for instance, Reggie Prograis versus Josh Taylor was a good fight because Reggie Prograis would make himself a available target for Josh Taylor to hit him in the head, and that's what made that fight exciting. If Reggie Prograis had maintained distance control after he landed his body punches, he roll under and get out of there, and then come back again, walking him down, or kept his high guard up and made sure his high guard was perfected so that he could snap back and not get caught by Josh Taylor's punches. And if he had stayed off Josh Taylor, kept him at arm's length at certain points, and fought him on the outside after he had done his inside work, kind of like what Canelo was doing, or step aside. So you roll under, step aside, and go weak side and continue his work. He would have made that fight a lot more duller. It would have been more one-sided and more dominant on his part. But because he got hit by shots where he decided to take those punches, he decided, I'm going to stay in the line fight, take certain punches. And even then, Josh Taylor thought he was more elusive. He made the fight closer than it needed to be. Right? It made for a more exciting fight, but it was an error on his part defensively. Right? So, like I said before, yeah, great fights and all of that shit, but defensively, you should really tighten up your defense. Right? And you find that the more elite fighters of this generation, this time, they've got good defense. You think about all the elite fighters. Lee Selby, good defense. Shakur Stevenson, good defense. Errol Spence, good defense. Sean Porter, good defense. Errol Spence, though, had gaps in his defense which Sean Porter could exploit, right? Um, and Sean Porter had a quicker footwork, so he was able to get into position faster than Errol Spence. But Sean Porter, yeah, he have meh defense. It's okay. It's better than it used to be. Keith Thurman, meh defense. Danny Garcia, meh defense. Better than probably past athletes, but still nonetheless, meh, right? Terrence Crawford has good defense. Vasily Lomachenko has good defense. Mostly his feet that is his defense, but he has good defense. You think about all the elite fighters out there. Andy Ruiz has good defense, even though he got caught by Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has good defense, but he's slow. So his defense can be penetrated. And then he makes some bad decisions in the ring, deciding to fight in close against guys he should probably not be fighting in close with. So he makes poor decisions. So I can't really say he has good defense. I had to call it meh as well. Because your decision making is also important. Deontay Wilder, he has okay defense. He has meh defense. Tyson Fury has good defense. So when you look at most of the elite fighters, Usyk has good defense, right? Triple G has meh defense. Danny Jacobs has good defense. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has meh defense. Demetrius Andre has good defense. You see what I'm saying? Jamal Charlo has good defense. So my point being, if you look at the elite fighters today, most of them have good defense, right? And you would say, well, throughout time, that's the same. Not really, not necessarily, right? And guys got caught with shots they probably shouldn't have got caught with throughout time. And they got hit a lot more easily. There are exceptions to the rule like Charlie Burley, like, James Toney, and he still got caught by Samuel Peter because Samuel Peter was doing some really nice things with his jab. And because James Toney didn't move his feet, he was lazy with his feet, he was staying in a certain range, he would misgauge the range and get caught with a jab. So he got knocked down twice by Samuel Peter, who was a good fighter, by the way. Knocked down Vladimir Klitschko a couple times. But his defense was a little bit suspect as well. But he had okay defense. He had meh defense. Vladimir Klitschko used all kinds of tactics so that people would knock his ass out, right? He had he had meh defense. A guy who had good defense as well was Lennox Lewis, but the motherfucker wasn't always motivated for fights. That was his problem. Kind of like Sugar Ray Leonard let himself down by getting beat by Roberto Duran. That was never supposed to happen. Roberto Duran was never supposed to beat Sugar Ray Leonard. Never. Sugar Ray Leonard had too much on the table. He had too much skill, too much ability to allow himself to get beaten by Sugar Ray by Roberto Duran. That never should have happened. He was supposed to box that motherfucker, make him look stupid. Right? So my point being that, today I think that, especially when you look at the 80s, 90s, some of the 70s, I think, that the guys today, I think their defense is they're a little bit more defensively responsible than those guys back then. But they looked at the guys back then to learn from them so they could sharpen up their game. You get what I'm saying? And then the trainers back then. You see, they pass on that knowledge to the guys. Now, again, like I said before, because guys don't throw as many combinations today as they did back in the day, you still get some scrappers that do things like Leo Santa Cruz throw a lot of combination stuff. But mostly, even Canelo even talks about how he's not throwing much combinations today anymore. He just pot shot mostly, and then he can crash it, right? And if you look at it, guys like Roy Jones Jr., that's why they say like guys like Roy and these guys didn't take risks. It's because they pot shotting you. They pot shotting you, chipping away, watching you. Okay, this is what you are. Okay, now I'm going to crash your ass. And then they get you out of there, right? So, you know, that's more of what you're seeing today. You see more pot shotters. Guys are not really throwing a whole set of combinations and they watching at you, and then they got this array of skills and they got an array of stances and they got an array of things that they could do in that ring, right? And they still learning the game, right? A perfect example of a hard worker is Andre Ward. He wasn't the most God gifted guy out there, but that guy worked hard at his craft, and that's why he was just a perfectionist as well. So that's why he did so well. I got to get out of here. But my point anyway is that you find that the guys today are much more, they take less risks, right? They fight a lot more safer. They fight a lot more defensively responsible. So the top guys, they fight more defensively responsible. You know, Andre versus Charlo, you would see a tactical fight, right? Now, back in the days, back in the times of, Langford and those dudes, you saw that too. And those guys were always boxing, always. But again, to make it sound like, because these guys were more busy fighting fights, that means they were better than the guys today. I don't think so, because there's no days off for these fighters today. And especially today, guys are staying in shape. And guys are not trying to get into shape anymore. They're not trying to. They got a few of them like Javante Davis and them that's still cutting weight and still doing the lapsing thing. But we'll see how long Javante Davis' career lasts. Okay. What I'm saying is that a lot of guys, they're staying ready. So like Demetrius Andre is in the gym all the time. He come out the gym to watch fights and then he's back in the gym. You know what I'm saying? You see these guys training all the time. If they got to do sparring, they spar sometimes. You know what I'm saying? To stay sharp and shit. So what I'm saying is that the commitment now by these younger fighters, I find also a lot more than, especially in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where guys were drinking and smoking and doing all kinds of shit to their bodies and then going and fight. Right? Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Julio Cesar Chavez used to sniff cocaine and all kinds of shit. Then he go and fight. Crazy. What they do to their bodies. Now he take better care of his body and shit. And nowadays, guys really take care of their body. You have the proper diet and all that shit to stay on weight and stuff. So I just think that guys today, in that respect, the boxing matches are not as a bloodfest, because guys are much more in shape and stuff to be able to go the rounds they need to go. But at the same time, because they're bigger, stronger, and just bigger, stronger, and even faster than guys yesterday, you find that they're still very destructive. So guys are killing other guys in that ring. It could be the PEDs, whether legal or illegal. It may be that they need more safety precautions in boxing, because these guys are hurting each other with the legit gloves. They had bigger size gloves and all that shit, and still they killing each other in that ring. You know, if you don't come ready and in proper shape and in proper conditioning and proper health, you could get killed in there. That's the kind of fighting that they have now. So I'm just saying that boxing always had killings in it. All right, people was always catching bodies, right? Sugar Ray Robinson caught a body as well. I think it was Doyle. But my point being that the guys today, man, they on another level, and then they bigger. Like if you look at the heavyweights today, we talking about heavyweights that there are heavyweights that are 6'9", guys that are 6'7", guys that are 6'8", guys that are 6'5". They're big guys, and they're not big sloppy guys. It's not because they big they slow and sloppy. Back in the day they used to be big, slow, and sluggish and sloppy. Now these motherfuckers are nimble, quick, they're sharp. You know, the Wilders, the Furies, they're quick, they're sharp. The Joshua's are slow. Okay, they slow compared to those two guys. But there's Fury and Wilder are exceptions to the rule. Wilder's tall and stringy, but he's strong. And Fury is tall, he's a little bit sloppy, but he's fast, he's quick, he's sharp. He can do it all. These are just different. It's just a different time. We've never seen fighters like that. We've seen Klitschko. We've seen Lennox Lewis, but they smaller guys. Klitschko and Lewis, they're smaller. They're shorter than these dudes. Right? Both Wilder and Fury are taller than Lennox Lewis and Klitschko. And they were considered tall heavyweights in that time. And we know Lennox Lewis was a dominant heavyweight. Anybody who faced Lennox Lewis was going to get their ass beat. Right? And now these guys, they're not as refined maybe as Lennox Lewis, but they're so much bigger. They would be hell. I don't even know how Lennox would beat those guys. I don't know. And then Wilder's so unorthodox with it. And he's very athletic. I don't know. I don't know. And that's the way how boxing's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that there be levels, that things evolve, that things keep on moving forward. Anyway, man, I'm going on 2 hours. Let me see what you guys have left to say. Why do you hate Michael Jordan? What the fuck? I don't hate Michael Jordan, brother. Never did. I was inspired by Michael Jordan. I used to play basketball in the style of Michael Jordan back in the day when I was a teenager. I used to hang time. That motherfucker was the master of hang time. He used to stay in the air, just be like he stay in the air forever, and make all those moves. I loved it. But see, I'm a guy that's accepting of change, and sports change. Now you guys sound like you would hold on to Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens was the GOAT, the greatest of all time when it comes to sprinting, even though Usain Bolt clearly surpasses him in terms of speed. You can't be in the past. Or y'all would be with Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis is the GOAT, man. He the best. You can't. You have to understand that there are different things and there are different records and different things that happen. All sports evolve. And now it's up to you if you want to embrace the change or not. The greatest insanity is thinking that things will remain the same. They won't. Floyd is not the best ever, says Boxing Monster. He might be top 3 woman beater. I don't know. He has a lot of competition for the top 3. Boxing Monster. This dude saying Bird is better than Curry is stupid. I never said Bird is better than Curry. We got Jalik's second coming. I never said Bird is better than Curry. I said Curry is better than Bird. In certain things, yes. You can argue that Curry is better than Bird. Boxing Monster, Peter Pan. Man, stop calling the guy Peter Pan. Why are you guys calling him Peter Pan? I don't even get that. How was last night? Abel Sanchez. Black fighters are boring. Yeah, then he comes and says that Floyd beat more world champions than anybody in history. He really did beat more world champions. That's what Abel Sanchez said. And by the way, Abel Sanchez trained the terrible Terry Norris. I guess he was boring too. Boxing Monster said last was great. One of my best birthday gifts I ever bought myself. Last night. Okay. And Intangible Boxing said Abel Sanchez, one great black fighter, can't get a word out of his mouth. Intangible Boxing says Chavez Jr.'s face for his defense is one of the greatest signature techniques in sports boxing. I don't. Y'all be talking so much shit. Boxing Mother says I caught a body too. Her stage name was Strawberry, and I need to change. And I need to charge with 187. Boxing Mother says 5'8", 165, 336, 24, 48. Oh my God. Intangible Boxing says Lennox would destroy Wilder just like he did with Michael Grant. You're comparing Wilder to Michael Grant. Okay then. I'm gonna leave that alone. Boxing Mustard puts an hourglass. Tangible Boxing says, you know more basketball than me, yet you don't know what a 50, 40, 90 IW. Yeah, you're talking about points scored, assists, and blocks or whatever. Tangible Boxing is. Oh, Iwi is. Okay. Boxing Mustard. Carlos and Michael Johnson are the GOATs. Yes, sir. They are from Texas. And they won gold medals in multiple events. Boxing Monster. Wilder is more like Bruno, not Grant. Y'all are such a trip. Y'all are funny. Y'all got jokes. 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 But to Lennox Lewis's credit, he did beat everybody of his era. So he may beat Wilder. I just don't see it because Wilder's just so fast and he's quick and explosive. Michael Grant ain't nothing like Wilder. Come on now. You serious? Michael Grant ain't Wilder, man. And Wilder's strong. Michael Grant ain't strong. Got knocked out by everybody. He was big. He wasn't even fast. He was strong, but he wasn't fast. You know? I mean, it's Lennox Lewis, so it's possible. No, 50, 40, 90 means 50% from the field, 40% from three, 90% from the free throw line. Oh, my bad. Okay. Whatever. Wilder will be more like France Bosa. How can you be like France Bosa, man? France Bosa wasn't tall. Y'all be just clowning straight through, man. Y'all funny. Wilder's like Wilder. There's nobody like Wilder. Wilder's Wilder. Right? Maybe Lennox Lewis beats Wilder. I don't know. You know, because he beat everybody of his era, so it's possible. Don't know what his game plan would be, but you know, when I think about it, Wilder has been dropped by people before, so he's been dropped I think twice. So I guess it's possible, but he has taken some hellacious shots and just stayed there. You know, Wilder don't just go down like that. So I don't know about that. Wilder would be more like France both. Wilder's the worst business decision making in boxing. I don't know what you're talking about. Now Wilder maybe approaches Andrew Galata's status. Andrew Galata was a guy that Andrew Galata could have beaten a lot of people, but mentally he was unstable. Wilder's not mentally unstable, but Andrew Galata was, you know, Andrew Galata was just crazy. He just go into this crazy streak. I don't know what was wrong with him. Sometimes he'd be winning fights and he just go mad. You know what I'm saying? He boxing a good fight and just do crazy shit. So I don't know what's wrong with Andrew Galata. Remember that Tyson fight where he just suddenly just stopped fighting? Galata was crazy, man. Anyways, man, that's what I got for now. That was the video. It was about Floyd versus Canelo 2, which I think he would get beat by Canelo at this point in time, and Pacquiao, and those young bucks. He's out of boxing too long, in my opinion, and that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with that. And Floyd versus Zab Judah, which a lot of people talk about it, but they don't realize Zab Judah. The reason they even made the fight was because Zab Judah was undisputed. People forget that. It would have been a good fight if he didn't lose to Carlos Baldomir. Carlos Baldomir fucked that shit up. Wilder's more dedicated Buster Douglas, that's all. What the fuck? Y'all just be talking shit nonstop, don't y'all? I can't even take y'all seriously no more. Y'all be clowning. I don't know when y'all serious or when y'all clowning anymore. Deontay Wilder, man, he a good fighter. He's still evolving though. He's still growing as a fighter. Why Wilder's more dedicated is a more dedicated Oliver McCall. How, man? How? Now if you say he like a Thomas Hearns or he's like his trainer, I could see that. I could see styles that could beat Wilder as well. A guy who could infight pretty well, he'd give Wilder a hell of a lot of problems. Because Wilder still live off the jab. He does throw a pretty decent jab though. He throws what did I say, two types of jabs I think he throws. He throw a power jab that's like a down jab. He throw a jab like this, and then sometimes he come here. He's looking at you, and sometimes he use the high guard. Sometimes he goes sideways, and then he would throw a jab from low to high. And I like how he changes levels and throws the jab to the pit as well. But he still don't time that jab to the pit very well. You're supposed to catch the guy with the jab to the pit, especially when they're moving into you. Zab Judah was washed out when he fought Floyd Rhodes. No, he wasn't. How could he be washed out? He was just a fight before the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. What are you talking about? He dropped the ball on Carlos Baldomir. That's what happened. Zoo took his soul. Nah, man. If he took his soul, he wouldn't have won against Corey Spinks, man. And Corey Spinks was a good fighter too, slick as hell. They had two fights actually. The first one, he dropped Corey Spinks in the final rounds. The second one, he finished him off. Corey Spinks was overrated? You serious? Why would you say something like that? The man. So, see? Good. Good. You make my point. So you're saying that undisputed is all this stuff and blah, 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 right? Now, Corey Spinks did it the hard way, right? He collected the belt from Ricardo Mayorga, who collected two belts. And he collected another belt he collected two belts on his own, and then he collected the belt from Ricardo Mayorga. So he did the hard work to become undisputed. And he actually fought a name, Ricardo Mayorga, who had just beaten Vernon Forrest, right? And he also beat Six Heads Lewis. Let me see who Corey Spinks beat to become undisputed. Good point. Y'all making my points, man. That's why I told you the belts don't mean shit. See, y'all making my point for me. Hold on a second. Nighttime came like nothing, man. Just came out the clear blue sky. I got a water pint so outside. Yeah. Hold on. Y'all making my point for me, man. Man, why do I have reflux like that? Oh. Right. Corey Spinks, okay? He actually, I forgot Undisputed was only 3 titles. So he actually picked up the WBC and WBA from Ricardo Mayorga. Ricardo Mayorga did some good work, man. He got the WBC and WBA titles. I think he beat Vernon Forrest and Andrew Sixhead Lewis to get those 2 titles. And Corey Spinks picked it out from him. And Michel Pecorello, yeah, Michel Pecorello wasn't really all that. You're right about that. But then he went on to beat Zab Judah. He beat Miguel Angel Gonzalez. I think Miguel Angel Gonzalez was a good fighter. I might be mixing up with somebody else. So I might be wrong. Then he went up to super welterweight after Zab Judah beat him. And he beat Roman Karmazin. Roman Karmazin was a Russian fighter. Ain't nobody wanted to fight him. He fought him and beat him. Right? He also fought Ricardo Mayorga. Everybody said he was going to get beat by him because Ricardo Mayorga had beaten Vernon Forrest. Just come off the Vernon Forrest win. And he faced him and he beat him.
right? Um, then he lost to Jermaine Taylor by split decision. So he fought Jermaine Taylor at middleweight, and he just lost to him. So he went up from super welterweight to middleweight, okay, and that's about it really. After that, he won the super welterweight title against some guy called DeAndre Lattimore, and then Cornelius Bundridge put him to sleep, and that was about it. That's basically his career. And that's the names right there. That's about it. He wasn't the greatest thing that ever lived, but he was a name in boxing. And Zab Judah beat him, become undisputed welterweight champion of the world. Now, to be honest with you, you're right. Um, he wasn't the greatest name out there. He was all right, you know. But Zab Judah beat him anyway to become super welterweight champion of the world. And that's what you guys are making my point. You could be an undisputed champion, but it's who you beat. In this case, he beat Ricardo Mayorga. That was the name because Ricardo Mayorga just beat Vernon Forrest, right? And Vernon Forrest was considered the best welterweight in the division at the time because he had beaten Shane Mosley, right? So that's why I said it's not just the belts. You guys just confirmed what I was saying all along, that it's not just belts that make you, and y'all was harping on the belts, undisputed, blah, 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 blah. But look at this. This guy was undisputed. And y'all saying he ain't all that, right? Y'all ain't going to place him as a first ballot boxing Hall of Famer. Y'all are not going to do that because he didn't face enough names. He didn't face enough really good or great fighters. His best names on his list is Zab Judah and Ricardo Mayorga. That's it. He ain't got nobody else. Right? He lost to Jermaine Taylor. He lost to Cornelius Bundridge. He lost to Carlos Molina. Right? So that's why y'all don't consider. But he was undisputed. Y'all should be. Oh, man, the man was undisputed. He should go in the Boxing Hall of Fame based on that he was undisputed. Because few people was undisputed. It's the same thing y'all doing with Terrence Crawford. Now Terrence Crawford got a better resume than him because he been through more weight classes and stuff. And then he faced Ricky Burns and he faced Yorkis Gamble, who is about to be faced. He's about to face Javante Davis. But my point being that y'all rate Terrence Crawford on this high plateau because he's undisputed. When he faced only Victor Postol is the only notable name that he faced that's worth talking about there in that 140 division. Right? Who did he beat to get the WBO belt? Who he beat to get the WBO belt again? He had the WBO belt too. I think it was vacant, right? I think he fought this guy, Thomas Delorme. Did he fight Thomas Delorme for the vacant WBO title? I think it was something like that. Right? So when you think about it, the only guy that really is noteworthy on his resume at 140 is Victor Postol. He had two other fighters who were probably better fighters than Victor Postol. Maybe not. Felix Diaz, but they wasn't world champions. Felix Diaz and the other kid, forgot what his name is. But really and truly, I mean, y'all make a big deal about Terrence Crawford. I guess he's undefeated, so that means you should make it a big deal. I guess so. I mean, it's how you dispose of the guys too. I guess that made you guys think that. But y'all trash Zab Judah. Y'all trash Zab Judah. He was undisputed. Y'all trash Corey Spinks. He was undisputed. I guess undisputed don't mean nothing once it's not Terrence Crawford, right? Once it's not one of these guys in this decade, to make your argument right? I'm just saying. And the funny thing about it is both Corey Spinks and Zab Judah defended their titles successfully. Their undisputed titles successfully. I'm just saying. Again, it's just an argument. I'm just saying. Spinks was overrated. Ain't nobody from STL doing anything. I don't even know what that means. Cost of Zoo had Zab doing the skanky leg better than I've ever seen. Which means what? That was at super lightweight. I don't mean shit. He got up he got up too quick, so he got the skanky leg. That's all that happened. He was funny though. It looked funny when he put up his hand like this and fell back down. That was funny as shit. And then Costas turned to the camera and went, "Yes, I won!" It was a priceless moment, man. Name one fighter from SDL with any remote inside game. I don't even know what the fuck SDL means. You're gonna have to break that down. Yeah, back to what I was saying. So yeah, Zab Judah, boy, Super Judah. So yeah, it's not just about belts. For your point that you keep on making, you guys keep on making that just don't make no shit and sense. Again, people just don't know shit about boxing. Talking, they're just talking. Y'all just clowning the dude right now. Y'all clowning his fans. Say that to Zab Judah's face. Let's see how you sign a waiver and say it to his face. St. Louis, Missouri. Oh yeah, okay. You talking about Corey Spinks? What that's supposed to mean? Yeah, so that's basically it for him. Let's see what else we gotta do here. Y'all talking or chatting right now. I got a boogie though. I'm sorry about this, but I got a boogie. You guys like to talk, boy. You guys like to talk. You guys got me busy. I finished discussing what I had to discuss a long time ago, and y'all still got me talking here. 2 hours and 26 minutes. Y'all guys can talk. God damn it. That's good though. That's good. Yeah, but anyways, it was nice chopping it up with you guys. When you guys want to do your thing, I can't chop up no more boxing. I talked too much boxing today. I gotta take a chill pill and just but it was nice talking with you guys. You guys can talk, man. Oh my god. Um I got some other things I gotta do. There was a lady who was supposed to pass through here and collect something. She did not collect the stuff. She didn't even contact me. That's interesting. Oh well. Yeah, man. It's nice though. It's nice talking with you guys. You guys always chopping it up and stuff. I don't know how serious you guys are when I'm talking to you. But yes, that was just the two topics, which was Mayweather versus Judah and Canelo versus Mayweather 2. You guys leave in the comment section, or if you want to express your opinions on the following things. Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz 2. Who do you pick to win that fight? Do you think it's too early to pick a winner? And also Tony Harrison versus Jamel Charlo. Who do you pick to win that fight and why? Now, Jamel Charlo was talking the truth, clearly. Tony Harrison's leg was not injured, and Tony Harrison kind of affirmed that with his little story that he told. And then it seems as though Jamel Charlo knows a thing or two about what happened to Tony Harrison in sparring, which stopped Tony Harrison from probably taking the rematch as soon as they were supposed to take it. Maybe he got injured in sparring. From what Jamel Charlo was saying about their camp. So let's see what you guys think based on that. That Jamel Charlo knows something about what was happening with Tony Harrison, and Tony Harrison was making it up that he had a foot injury. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that makes a difference in how the fight turns out? And who do you pick to win? I can leave a poll on that as well. And there's one more thing I wanted to ask you guys, because we got a lot of fights at the end of this year. Do you think that Urelka's Gamboa versus Gervonta Davis is going to be an easy open shot case for Gervonta Davis? And do you think that Devin Haney versus Javier Fortuna is going to be an easy breezy fight for Devin Haney? And let me see what else we got. I do think that I think this year there's another fight that's on the horizon. Guys, remind me. There's another fight on the horizon that's important. I don't know what the weekend fights are going to be. Let me just take a look at that. Hold on one second. All right, so we don't really have any really big fights. Francisco Fonseca is fighting, but other than that, no really notable names this weekend in terms of fights. This weekend is going to be the 16th of November. Oh man, I got hay fever like crazy. And so this weekend's pretty much empty, right? So the fights that we're really looking forward to will be Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 2, which I'm not watching. I'm not really interested in that fight. There's Callum Smith also versus John Ryder. I'm not interested in that fight either. Jack Culcay is going to be fighting some guy named Jama Saida. I'm not going to be watching that fight either, folks. Figueroa will be facing Julio Seja. And Luis Neri, he will be facing Emmanuel Rodriguez. But none of those fights interest me. So the following Saturday, which is the last Saturday of the month, Zolani Tate, who's um, he's a bantamweight. He'll be facing John Rael Casimiro. Cecilia Bracas, she'll be facing Victoria Noella Bustos. And Oscar Valdez, he's going to have his debut at super featherweight. He'll be facing Andres Gutierrez. Andres Gutierrez, I think, was a fighter I was following at a certain point in time. I don't know what happened to him, so I'm gonna try and find out more about that. So, and then the following Saturday, which will be the 7th of December, Andy Ruiz will be facing Anthony Joshua. Jamal Charlo will be facing Dennis Hogan. I'm not watching Jamal Charlo versus Dennis Hogan. I'm sorry, guys. Not watching that. I will watch Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. Okay. So, certain fights I'm just not interested in, period. But you guys tell me your picks on Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua, Tony Harrison versus Jamel Charlo, who you pick to win at this point in time. You can always change your pick as it approaches closer to the date. Who else did I say? Gervonta Davis versus Yorkis Gamboa and Devin Haney versus Javier Fortuna. Those are the fights that I'm really interested in talking about. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about that. And if you want Wilder versus Ortiz too, we all know Wilder's going to win that fight. No matter what Ortiz does, Wilder's got his number. So he's going to get that right inside. So the question is, what do you think about these rematches? Do you think that Andy Ruiz is going to just suddenly dominate in these rematches? Do you think that Andy Ruiz is going to repeat what he did to Anthony Joshua? Do you think that Tony Harrison is going to repeat what he did to Jamel Charlo? Do you think that Yorkis Gamboa, Gervonta Davis is going to run over Yorkis Gamboa? You know, do you think that Devin Haney is just going to run over Javier Fortuna? I want to hear your guys' comments on these things. You can always look at the fight, break down the details of the fight, and then you can go ahead and give your picks on that. But I'll be interested in that. But as for Floyd Mayweather TBE, like I said before, and you know I make very good points when I'm stressing certain things. Obviously, I believe that he is TBE. I think he's the best ever. And I think that all these other things, these stats you guys throw up, I think that those stats still do not even equate to what Floyd has been able to do in terms of beating the level of opposition he did in less fights. You know, Sugar Ray Robinson took 100 and something fights to face all these guys. And he faced a lot of good fighters, no doubt about it. He got beaten by a lot of good fighters, too. You know, he had a lot of rematches. Unnecessary rematches like what Wilder's doing with Ortiz. And I also think that Sugar Ray Robinson, hell of a fighter, different era and everything. But I just don't think he pairs up with Floyd. I think you have to be somebody who can hit and not get hit to beat a Floyd Mayweather. You're not going to beat Floyd with just sheer power, with all your arrays of skills and stuff, but you're playing checkers, you're not playing chess. You know, and Sugar Ray Robinson, to me, in my opinion, was still a checkers player. He was on a chess player, but he wasn't an advanced chess player like a Floyd or a Canelo. You know. So I think smarts have a lot to do, and composure has a lot to do with how you win fights. And when you getting outboxed by guys like, you're getting outboxed by guys that not supposed to outbox you, it say a lot about your style. and the fact that you don't necessarily use the kind of smarts that we thought you would use. You know, so it's just what it is. Um, and as for Sam Langford, hell of a fighter as well. But I think these guys depended a lot on their power. Like Sugar Ray Robinson depended on his power a little too much. And but again, it was sometimes his power he would get guys out of there that he's supposed to get them out. You know, and then other guys who defensively sometimes lapse in their defense would get caught with shots, and that's how he did it. Some of these guys were tough and they could take a punch, but in taking a punch to come in to throw the punch, which is what he generally dealt with. Uh, you know, uh, Sugar Ray Robinson could catch him with something that they didn't see, and that's how he put him down. But to say that I think he would do something like that to Floyd, I just can't see it happening. And I can't see it happening to Sugar Ray Leonard either. Sugar Ray Leonard had lesser defense than Floyd. I think Sugar Ray Leonard brought a lot more to the table against a Sugar Ray Robinson that Sugar Ray Robinson would break for Sugar Ray Leonard. Just a lot more. And I just think that when you look at these guys as they get closer and closer to these times, you see better and better fighters. So definitely Sugar Ray Leonard was a better fighter than Sugar Ray Robinson. But then again, Muhammad Ali was, in some respects, a better fighter than Sugar Ray Robinson. Robinson had a better all-around game. He could fight on the inside. He could fight on the outside and stuff, which Muhammad Ali was not an in-fighter. All right, he clinch up and shit. So I guess in that respect, Sugar Ray Robinson would have an advantage of Muhammad Ali. But against Sugar Ray Leonard, Leonard could do it all as well. He could fight on the inside, could fight on the outside, could fight at mid-range. He would move around the ring and all that shit. So I think that Sugar Ray Leonard would definitely beat Sugar Ray Robinson. He was faster than Sugar Ray Robinson. He was quicker than Sugar Ray Robinson. I think he was also sharper than Sugar Ray Robinson. I think he had a better end game than Sugar Ray Robinson and how he handled his opposition. I think he had better opposition than Sugar Ray Robinson did, to be quite frank. Tougher challenges. Facing guys who were, taller than him, longer than him. But on top of that, he also didn't just face pressure fighters who guys coming at him, but he faced also guys, that could box a bit. Thomas Hearns could box, Marvin Hagler could box, you know. Um, then he had the taller guys like Donnie Lalonde, was much bigger than him, much taller than him, and he handled Donnie Lalonde pretty well, you know. And he did some phenomenal things. And I think that Floyd was the same thing. Floyd faced guys faster than him. He faced guys taller than him. He faced guys more powerful than him. He faced guys smaller than him. He faced guys lighter punches than him. He faced guys quicker than him. Same kind of thing like Sugar Ray Leonard. And again, Floyd had all-around game, just like Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard. But I just think he evolved to a totally different level, taking the defense. Really, he had sharp defense. Unfortunately for him, his hands weren't as good as Sugar Ray Leonard's or Sugar Ray Robinson. But he also took the game to another level. Roy Jones Jr. was more like a Muhammad Ali in the sense that he was an outboxer, not really had a great inside game, but again, very flamboyant, very quick, very sharp. Less predictable than even Muhammad Ali. And they compared him to Muhammad Ali and shit. And his inspiration was Sugar Ray Robinson as well. But the irony of the situation is Sugar Ray Robinson lived off the jab, and Roy Jones Jr. he borrowed the left hook from Sugar Ray Robinson. He liked the triple left hook. He implemented it differently. But so when you look at guys like Floyd and Roy was something else, no doubt about it. Roy, Floyd, then the less flamboyant guys, but guys with the fundamentals. Mike Collum and Tony, who's beautiful, like the Matrix on the inside, but didn't move his feet enough. You really get a feel for how the best of an era could evolve like that and just be just get better and better. And this is what we keep on seeing in boxing. We keep on seeing them getting better and better, sharper and sharper, quicker and quicker. And why they would be quicker and quicker is because the medicine, the science, and stuff of boxing would change over time. Now, looking at these young guns coming up, they're even sharper than Floyd and all those other guys from the past. You look at them, they have a lot of potential behind them. They're still basic to some degree, and they got a lot of things to show. And maybe they're not as, elastic as probably Floyd was, but then for that, they are more precise. They're quicker. They're sharper. There's a lot of things going on with these fighters, and they're being tested even more than Floyd is. The level of opposition is even better than Floyd's level of opposition he faced. And so the whole point I'm making is that, you're already seeing that a new era of boxers is coming out, and they look really tremendously, even better than the era of boxers that went before. No people call them Floyd Mayweathers, but it's just that they're coming. You can see the evolution of boxing as it moves along. And that's my whole point. All right. So anyway, that's what I got to say about it. And I always going to stress this point that boxing as a sport has evolved, and whether y'all like it or not, that's the truth. And just like any other sport, it evolves, and you can see the evolution of boxing also becoming something where it's sort of interplaying with other sports as well. So we have other combat sports now. We're seeing people, that come from, kickboxing background, jiu-jitsu background, MMA background that may enter the sport of boxing and actually start to box. And this is really great. I've seen Jake Paul training alongside guys like Ryan Garcia, and he's just a normal guy that is a YouTuber that's now going into boxing. And these are, again, big things. These are huge things because Jake Paul has a following, and if his following is following Jake Paul, seeing him train like that, a lot more people are going to want to train, and a lot more young people might want to get into the sport of boxing as well. And maybe they don't come from impoverished backgrounds and shit, but they might want to get into the sport of boxing. At least 1 out of 10 of them. So I mean, it just makes for the sport of boxing being even more and more interesting as we go along. And like I said before, it's going to change, and you can't stay old school. You can't be fixed. You can't be somebody who is so hell bent on being holding on to past things and how the past used to be, that you're inflexible to embracing the future. And a lot of you guys just are not flexible at all. Okay, not flexible at all, and that's sad. This is you. This is what you need. You can subscribe, share my videos. You can also donate to my channel, as well as you can uh, like the videos and share them. So have a good one, peoples.